think I have a. Don't do that.
I.
Oh. All right, I'll text you.
Sorry, it's 55. It's when I go live, and I already hit it, and you started going.
All right.
You can wait till 10.
I guess it can. Come to think of it.
I was just thinking about this. We've talked more this week than we've talked in 2 years.
In our third act.
You know what I find fantastic is that I get up in the morning. I got a couple things I do every day. One of them is I check social media.
Okay.
Very quickly. And I go on Facebook this morning and I see that Casio last night was at the Naples Christmas parade.
Oh.
Wearing a fake Christmas sweater. With a "Don't Stop Believing with Santa" on it shirt.
That's awesome.
And I just get the biggest kick out of it.
And it's not nearly as big a sweater as it used to be.
No, he's lost so much weight. So that Michael Mira guy that I know lost 65 pounds with these injections. Although
I think
Adam in Twitch chat room scared the hell out of me about the injection things. Like, you're going to paralyze your stomach and die. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to do that.
Is that before or after I eat the goldfish? But I mean, I think Casil's lost 100 pounds.
It looks it.
I mean, it's at least 90.
I hate him.
Well, and I don't know if he's happy, but he's healthier.
I'm going to see him Sunday. There's going to be so much food in my house. I'm going to eat everything I can in front of him.
Oh,
I'm just going to walk up to him and just take bites out of crap.
Like, he tells me he can eat a mini sub. I go, you can't eat a half? He goes, no. I go, I'm sorry.
I just remember we had this last year, and there was a tray of chicken parm that was left over, and John's like, I could take that home and eat the whole thing. Because I could. Not anymore, but I could.
Well, he hadn't had it yet.
No, but he was just starting.
He was just about to.
Yeah.
Right. Because he snuck it in the last year, from a health insurance point. He had to get it. It was basically free. He had spent so much money, so it was like if he snuck it in, it was paid for.
David, I didn't go back to the post office yesterday, but I did have to go to Pack and Ship mailboxes.
All right. It's not the same, but
no, because there really wasn't a line.
Right.
I mean, the lines at the I will say it's funny. I've been to the post office now a couple times in the last month, and I've been there a lot because Eve sends me I have to go to the post office. There is one guy there that I like. The rest of them I don't care for too much. There's one guy that's always in a really good mood.
There's a lady at the post office here in Jacksonville who I really like. And there's 2 or 3 of them, and she's one of them. If it's my turn and I'm not getting her, I'll let the people behind me go. No, you go.
Boy, you are old.
Okay, now I want to talk to her.
Talk to her.
She's great. Okay, she's awesome. She goes, "You're going to give me a good review?" I go, "My review is going to be so good, you're going to be made manager." She goes, "Well, I don't want that."
I tried desperately to watch Hard Knocks last night, and I got through half of it, and I fell asleep.
Was that an indictment of Hard Knocks, or how tired you were?
Both. But they were focusing on the long-haired guy that's replacing Phillips and his family, and I didn't really care.
Gotcha. It's a nice, heartwarming story. I'm not interested.
Well, the backstory's fine. I like when they're in the games.
Totally.
This is stuff, and I know they've had a few seasons of this
stuff we can't get.
We don't get this.
No.
And so I'll go back and watch the second half. I wanted it to have it for today. I was like, I'll watch. Maybe there'll be something for today. Other than Tua likes Christmas carols. I do know that, your wife will like Tua more because he really likes Christmas carols.
Oh, man, if they just changed their uniforms back, golly.
Here we go.
Ambi, and you are jonesing.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It's the first hump day of December. Hope your week has gone well. Let's get over it together, shall we? Not until I ask this question. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Needed a little rest after that Monday night football game going to overtime and a late one. So got a good night's sleep last night, raring to go today.
Oh, I had a power nap like you wouldn't believe yesterday. In fact, it went too far. It went too far. I ended up not being able to go to sleep when I normally need to go to sleep. Plus, I think it crossed the line as to nap/sleep.
Oh, you went down for a while.
Yeah, I did. I went down early afternoon, woke up, and it was like, oh, snap. Yeah.
I tried, but the boss called.
Right.
And woke me up. Our boss, not the wife. It was right there, out, and the boss called.
Wait, our boss called?
Well, Monday, legalized gambling hits the casino in Immokalee.
Right.
It does tomorrow. What is it? Tomorrow in Tampa,
the next
or the 8th in Miami, or vice versa, and then Monday in Immokalee at the casino in Immokalee. I'm going to be out there. You're going to be wherever the hell you are.
Well, I'm going to be right at Monday Night Football in Lower Manhattan. So
okay, hello, Cleveland. I mean, you're in some city across the country.
I love you, Detroit. We're in Cincinnati. Right.
So you're going to be at Monday Night Football, and Monday I'm going to be at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee.
I'll trade with you.
And the boss is like, do I need to be there? I'm like, no. You're not here anyhow.
Well, we're not doing a deal, okay? We're just doing a show. So we're being told that tomorrow it's in Hollywood, and then Friday in Tampa.
Right, then Monday in Immokalee.
Right.
And it's not just the sports books, but
no, get roulette. The dice out, get the little ball out. Oh yeah, start throwing and rolling things. Yeah,
right, big time. I'm as fired. I'm personally as fired up about that as I am the sports book.
Here's my question: are you going to be able to gamble live during the show on Monday, or is it going to be like a big tease? Like you're sitting there on Thanksgiving and you're watching the meal being prepped, and it's like 9 a.m. and you can't get at anything till about noon.
I will know everything tomorrow. I'm going out for a lunch. Our friend Kathy that works out there, and get all the logistics and test the lines and do all that stuff. So I'll get all my details tomorrow.
Kathy, who is responsible for one of the great lines in the history of Miller and Moulton. All right. We were out there doing a show one day. All right. She's known Mark for longer than she's known me, but we got along very well. And she was watching the little byplay and interplay that I had with some of the customers. And she looked at you and she said, boy, he's popular with old women.
Yep.
And Mark took that and ran with it for like a decade.
You are money.
That's my demo, baby. Right there. Get out that AARP card. Let's go. And that's when I was in my 40s. You can only imagine how smoking I am with them now. Isn't that right, honey? Oh, I guess.
That's going to get you in trouble.
She's not paying attention. It's too early. So, yes. How about that? And Trent will be by himself.
I'll be all right.
For the first time.
Do we need a Lions win desperately? Like, do you think that he will be totally unproductive for us if the Lions lose?
Why would that be any different this Monday?
Oh, what are you talking about? They're 9-3. First time since 1962. Give me a break.
No. Let me rephrase. Why would it be? Why just this Monday are you figuring that out?
Well, because I mean, first off, the only time they've lost since you've been a part of this show, they lost on a Thursday. All right,
And you had Friday off,
right? And so you had almost 100 hours to recover from it. So we've never really dealt with you the day after.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we're used to Felipe the day after, and the day after a big Heat loss or a Finns loss. Oh my goodness.
Sky was falling. So we'll see.
Yes. I mean, the Heat lost game 5 of a conference final one time. He was done with them. He was ending his fandom. He was so disheartened. So, we haven't dealt with this with you before.
Well, hopefully you won't have to deal with it because the Lions are playing Justin Fields.
Well,
the Bears. Gave him fits last time.
Yeah, it's just the way that defense is playing lately. I just, nothing's a sure thing. It's the NFL. Nothing's a sure. Jags are 10-point home favorites. Nothing's a sure thing.
And man, there's not a lot of defenses playing well right now.
I just don't know how healthy anybody is.
No, I know.
Everybody's staggering to the proverbial finish line, it seems, which leads us to our question of the day. It's up to you if you want to poll question it or not, but it's our question of the day. It's our $20 today, for a limited time and a limited time only. Only today do you get to place this bet for the rest of the year. $20. Who you picking in the AFC? Who's going to the Super Bowl in the AFC? $20 today, December 6th. You got to, Mark, you're heading to the casino.
I know.
Monday. It's time. You got to place your bet. Here we go. All right. Today, who you picking? Who's going? Chiefs going to do it again? Buffalo going to come on hard on the outside down the stretch? Lamar and Tua going to stay healthy? Ravens, Dolphins, who haven't had, the Dolphins haven't had postseason success this century. Ravens haven't had it lately. Who you betting on? Trevor's going to get healthy. Going to bet on the Jags?
The Jags are plus 1,000 to win the AFC right now. 10-1 odds.
Right.
Dolphins, 3-1 odds. They're plus 300. Ravens are plus 260. And the Chiefs are plus 225.
So the money says the Chiefs, followed by the Ravens, followed by the Dolphins. They're all very close, though.
Really close.
That'd be a nice horse race. Be a nice derby right there. Win, place, and show all within about a length of each other. That'd be nice. So that's the question of the day. It's time. We've come and gone through Turkey Day and the weekend. Hell, we even gave you the following weekend. This is pretender contender time.
So I was watching a little bit of Hard Knocks, and it put me out last night. There was a storyline. I was tired. But the beginning, I will say, they have the big room, and McDaniel's addressing the team before their game against Washington, the week before the Washington game. And he's like, we were 8-3 last year.
Thank you, Mike.
And address the elephant in the room right off the get-go.
Yeah. Thank you.
And he said, all of a sudden we were 8-8 and we're scratching and clawing for a road playoff game.
Yeah.
So he addressed it.
Do you think you'd let me call him Mike?
Yes.
Okay. I do too. I think he's a pretty informal guy.
I coach Mike. You might let me call him Al.
Like when he said that, we were 8-3 last year. I was like, yeah, Mike. Can I call you Mike? Okay. Well, now they're 9-3. Not messing around. We got Tennessee and the Jets both at home. In fact, they have like one road game left, right? They go Tennessee, Jets, Cowboys, home, at Baltimore, home for Buffalo, right?
That's correct.
4 out of their last 5 at home. Come on now, boys. What am I, a hockey coach all of a sudden? Come on now, boys. Where did that come from?
Just chip it in, chip it out, boys.
I was going to say, what the
line changes, boys. Oh, sorry.
Where did that come from?
You almost threw a little Canadian accent in.
I know. Way to go, boys.
Win one for the organization.
Right.
This has to be a theme for the rest of today's episode. You guys are already too far in.
So
who are you betting on to win the AFC now?
Today, this is it, by the way.
Ravens, Chiefs, Dolphins.
And I guess, we could go other.
We could go other.
We'll throw in, if we're poll questioning this, we can throw in a D. We can go other. We're not naming you to, asking you to name other either. You could just go, I got a feeling. Somebody else. I don't have faith in any of those. Oh, okay. That's fine. So that's our $20 bet. Text line 21,000. If you're taking us in on the Miller Moulton Twitch channel, let us know. By the way, very first vote. I'd bet the Dolphins. Oh, man. That would be fantastic. That really would. I mean, think about it. You and I have been in Florida a quarter century.
Yeah.
Each. All right. We have never seen the Dolphins go on a playoff run. I mean, right as you and I were arriving, the Dolphins at the end of Jimmy, the beginning of Wanstad, they were making the playoffs, winning a wild card game, and getting beat badly in the divisional round. Badly. Every time they got to the divisional round, they got whacked. I mean, you knew, wow, they're not a contender. They're just they're a show horse there.
Here's my biggest dilemma with who to pick in this. And I know that right now Miami has the 1 seed. They play Baltimore, and we'll figure out what they do between the two of them. But with the schedule that Miami has, with the schedule that Baltimore has, and the schedule that Kansas City has, do you feel confident that Kansas City is going to lose another game?
Well, if they win Sunday, you could see them running the table.
Bingo.
Whereas you look at Baltimore and the Dolphins, and you go,
I don't see either of them running the table. I don't.
Right. And I think the Chiefs win the breakers. Well, they certainly do against the Dolphins because they beat them head to head. And they beat the Jags if Jacksonville gets back up after their loss Monday and the injuries from Monday.
And I'm a front runner, and you know that. So it's hard for me to pick against the Chiefs.
But, people have gone into Arrowhead and beaten them in the AFC Championship game before. But that's our bet. $20. Who's coming out of the AFC? Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
God, this is a hard question.
It's Miami. I honest to God have the most faith in Miami.
You seen them play against a good team yet?
Well, they should have beat the Chiefs. I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. It's more of a toss-up than it's been since Mahomes.
I agree
has
with
been
that.
at the top, so that's why it's tough. But
I'm taking Kansas City.
what if it was Kansas City or the field?
Take Kansas City.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, it's like in the last, since Mahomes came to be Mahomes, the only team that's gotten them is Cincinnati, and they're a non-factor this year. And that game even was a little fluky.
Gavin Ball, I think
weird.
they're going to be at home. That's the thing. I think they run the table. That's why.
Well, Mahomes doesn't lose 2 in a row. Who do they play this week?
Buffalo.
Ooh, that's right.
Exactly.
I'm getting told to chill out for calling Cincy a non-factor.
I love the fact you placed a Pistons parlay.
I did.
Are we going to have to start drug testing our employees now? Golly.
God, I hope not.
Listen,
Man.
It's in Detroit. The Grizzlies are
like
5-14. Grizzlies aren't any good. The Pistons got to win at some point.
Like it matters.
What do you mean like it matters? Of course it matters.
Like, oh, well, it's in Detroit. Oh, yeah, because the Pistons are so tough at home.
We're 1-point dogs. I got the Pistons and the Magic both in a parlay. Last night, by the way.
Why don't you just start handing me that money instead of wasting it?
Listen, last night, I was actually pretty proud of this. I put $3 on a parlay for Kevin Durant and Giannis to both score 30+, and they both scored 31.
There you go. Well, Giannis had 35, I thought.
Or yeah, 35 for Giannis, 31 for KD. I also put $10 on LeBron to score 25+, and he did. So I'm hot right now.
Oh,
I'm hot. I need the Pistons and the Magic to come through for me tonight.
He won $13.
You don't gamble what you can't afford to lose.
That's very true. That's why I don't gamble. Because unless I've got 50 to 100 or more on a game, it's not even worth doing.
Yeah, well, yesterday I got the text saying your account is live. So
yeah, they opened up the state of Florida for everybody yesterday.
So I just put $10 in, sprinkled it around.
Wow, $10, huh?
Yeah, the minimum you have to put in. I am in no position.
No, you're not. I mean, we know what you make. I mean, $3 is, a big bet.
Yes, it is.
So, wife and I'm playing blackjack. The only time she's ever been with me when I'm gambling. And I win 4 hands in a row. And she goes, "That's it. We're leaving." Wait, what? No, grab the money. Let's go. I'm like, no. She's like, no. Give me the money. I go, you touch the money, I'll kill you. Okay. Oh, yeah. She's like, we're gone. No, we're not gone.
Not until I lose every chip that I've got in front of me, honey.
Well, first off, I at least have to lose a hand. I mean, come on. No. Cards are coming my way. You don't get up and leave.
Is blackjack the...
She was, as soon as the shoot was done, she was like, no, seriously, I'm leaving. Okay. She was, I'm never gambled around her again.
Here we
Yes. KW, yes.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Hope your week's going well. Let's get over the hump together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We got one big question for you. A question we've never been able to seriously consider in the 17 years and 3 acts that we've been doing this show. So at this time of the year, $20, you got to bet it. Who you betting to come out of the AFC? And guess who's one of the choices? That's right. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1. That's right. Ravens
talking Miami.
You're talking Super Bowl.
Holy cow.
Ravens, Chiefs, Dolphins, or somebody else, I guess. Come for the heart outside. If the Bills get in, look out. We'll say for what they have to do just to get in. If they get in, look out. They're on a roll. In fact, that's one of the dilemmas for the Dolphins, that final game of the year. You know, they may already have the East clinched.
I think that they will.
But do you really want Buffalo in the party? Because, hell, you lose to the Bills, you might have to play them again the very next week. And they beat you. They own you. You've beaten them once in like 4 years, and it was a fluke win. They completely outplayed you. Plays were like 80-40. You held on for dear life and won a game you had no business winning. So that's our question. That's our theme today. Come on now. It's time. It's time. Yeah, you know, there's a few guys out there who may get waived and, you know, end up somewhere else. Sue's sitting on his couch. He may decide he wants to play after all. But yeah, come on. We know we got who we got. Let's hope nobody else gets hurt. Who you betting on?
David, I sat there and I stared it down. I want to pick Miami.
Oh, I know.
I wanted to pick Baltimore.
Look at you.
But
Mark
at the end of the day,
Chalk Miller.
I'm taking the 3 seed right now?
It's not chalk right now.
Come on. They've been damn near chalk for the last 5 years.
Because they're going to be chalk at the end of the day, too. When it's all said and done, the AFC is going to go through Arrowhead. Pat Kerwin's going to be pissed. He's got to go back to Kansas City for another year.
I know. Even though he knows all the bartenders by name, he doesn't want to see them for at least a year. Yep.
I just have trouble seeing Kansas City not being the 1 seed right now based on the schedules that everyone has. And if they're the home team, well, then they're really dangerous.
Right now, Miami's the 1, Baltimore's the 2, Kansas City's the 3, Jacksonville's the 4. You know, that's the other thing, the difference between the 1 and the 2. Obviously, buy, no buy. In theory, an easier first-round game. In theory. But also, in theory, you play the Jags in the division round as opposed to playing Ravens or Chiefs. You know, until proven otherwise, that's the easier route. So, lot riding right now. Who are you picking? For the record, I'm picking Baltimore. I'm riding Lamar. I'm rooting for the Dolphins. I'm riding Lamar.
Thought about it, and at the end of the day, I shouldn't be, but can Lamar get to the finish line? He's been unable to.
I know. And this is right around the time. And let's face it, we had a 13.5 over under on how many starts for Tua this year. Sunday's 13.
And most of you agreed he would win the division. Well, moved immensely over the course of the last few weeks. What is it? How many games in a row? How many out of 5 out of 6 they've held their opponent under 300 yards, the Dolphins?
I think
Was it
it's
more than that?
I think it's 7 of 8. It's
7 of 8.
It's at least 6 of 7. The defense has held the opponents to under 300 yards of offense. But I actually think it's 7 of 8. It coincided right around the time Jalen Ramsey came back. Huh. Funny how that works. So you got a shutdown corner on one side, one of the very best second corners in the league on the other side, who'd be a number 1 on half the teams in the league.
But the thing of it is, X isn't a 1 anymore. But as a 2,
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about that all the time when you have 2 1s as receivers, how difficult you are. You look at Miami with Hill as a 1. Waddle be a 1 for a lot of other teams. Makes it very difficult.
Yep. I mean, that's why the Bengals are such a live play. That's why obviously the Eagles, when they added A.J. Brown to the mix. Yeah. That's why we wonder, does Dallas have enough? You look at all the weapons the Niners have and the weapons the Eagles have. Is there enough around CD, who's having a monster year, by the way? I mean, if it wasn't for Tyreek Hill, we'd really be talking about CD Lamb.
And we still will be, based on who, because we have largely ignored Dallas. You and I, not the national media, because they can't ignore Dallas.
No.
We largely ignored them for the past few weeks because they've not been playing really tough, and they've been doing what they're supposed to do. But now Dallas's schedule gets in. They've got games the rest of the way.
Yep, they do. They've
Philadelphia, Buffalo, Detroit, Miami.
Yeah.
So it's not even if Dallas gets this week, it's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to be able to get the horse into the barn and win the division.
Not at all. And Philly's schedule's just about to lighten up. Dallas and Seattle on the road, and then it's the Giants twice in Arizona, I believe. I mean, it's come on now. They should be able to take care of business in the last 3. They get one of the next 2. Will probably be okay, unless the Niners win out. That's the only downside for Philly. And San Francisco, if you remember, won out last year. The Eagles got the horse into the barn ahead of them, but the Niners won out until Purdy got hurt in the NFC title game. But we're not asking about the NFC. We're asking about the AFC. Mahomes and the Chiefs have hosted 5 consecutive AFC championship games. Do you still believe they're going to host 6? Mark does. I don't. I'm picking the Ravens.
Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The internet went, something happened where the internet on this computer completely went out.
Well,
that's the only thing that sucks is I'm trying to try to talk. That's where I have trouble. I'm trying to actually carry out the last minute and a half, trying to pull you up, look at him for time cues, and there's 6 things going on, and it's like,
that was hectic.
good job, Trent.
You were a pro there.
tell table 12 I'll get their omelets to them in a minute. That's what I figured. That's what I figured was going on.
Nothing like a little chaos on a Wednesday morning.
All right, good to know. Westwood One's in Denver, Colorado. That's where their offices are.
Oh.
Or at least that's where I called yesterday. That's why they probably didn't answer when I called at 10:30 in the morning.
They should have been there. Oh, 8:30 their time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, somebody would have to get up to fire us at 6:30 in the morning. We're not getting fired at 6:30. You get fired at 10:03. Morning, Mac. Damn near, Mac.
Not
Damn
far
near.
off. Dial up internet for sure.
Trent, bang the 8-track again, will you?
Most of you guys listening to this know, but a couple weeks ago we had someone call our hotline and ask for Taylor Swift tickets.
Right.
So you never know what you're going to get here.
Next time, Trent, that happens, okay, you go, oh, I'm sorry, you're caller 5. Okay. Keep on trying.
Oop, you are not the lucky winner.
Nope. Sorry, try again.
Sorry.
I'm really scared to do anything on this computer right now.
Yeah, I would be too. I knew it wasn't good. You started freezing up on my end. I'm like, this isn't good. I grabbed the phone while you were talking. I quickly just start on the phone, and I'm like, no, internet's working on this end's working fine. That's a good one, Adam. That might be. Yep.
Adam, what do you have on the Grizzlies tonight? Like, did you just have money line? Memphis?
Look at the two of you. You're betting on the Pistons and Grizzlies, not
he
against them, on them.
Well, he said he picked Memphis because I said the Pistons suck, which they do. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that.
Is that who the Pistons are playing?
Yeah.
So,
in Detroit, David.
Right. Well, Pistons
Yeah.
are tough at home.
Throw all the records out when they're at home.
How many have they lost in a row? 15? 16?
17. No. 16.
16.
Because they were 2-3. Then
So now they're 2-19?
They were 2-1, actually, at one point.
The Spurs were 3-2. They haven't won since. I think they've lost 13, 14 in a row.
Yeah, they're lucky.
So so the Pistons have gone Gary Danielson, huh? 16? All right. Was he 16 in Detroit? He was 16 in Detroit, 19.
Yes, sir.
16, right?
Him and Jared Goff. And Titus Young back in the day. That's about the only other 16 I can remember for
Wow.
Detroit.
Titus Young.
Titus Young.
Do you remember him, Mark?
No.
He was actually pretty good as a young
No, he
receiver.
wasn't.
No. As he was showing promise, and then he jumped. He got in some bad legal trouble. I don't want. I forget what it was. I think he's still in the clink. Not a good guy.
No. Paul, the T-shirts could, when we get that merchandise going,
Yep.
Are you jerking my bobber? Did you ever kill a guy?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
At 22 minutes before the hour, David Bearman of Pro Football Network will join us 1 hour from now. The Great 8 Hour on a Wednesday. It's Seth Everett and Bud Elliott. That's all to come. Hope your week is going well. Thanks for being with us. We'll get over the hump together. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
some NFL news and notes. Trevor Lawrence, it's just a high ankle sprain. No surgery, unlike Pickett with the Steelers. But the Jags won't give a timetable. They haven't even ruled him out for Sunday. Trevor's never missed a game. Since they drafted him, he's played 46 consecutive starts. Third longest streak in the league right now. Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. Third longest streak of consecutive starts at 46 in a row. Christian Kirk, meanwhile, torn groin. Certainly out for the rest of the regular season. If they go on a playoff run, maybe, but Christian Kirk likely done. Also, Jags left tackle Walker Little hurt his left hamstring on the play that Trevor Lawrence got hurt on, and he is likely out against the Browns. So no quarterback, left tackle, and number 2 wide receiver.
Well, and I mean, they already lost their left tackle.
Right.
So this is essentially the third left tackle that'll be playing.
Right.
And Cam Robinson's already out.
Right. And it shouldn't be a problem. They're going to Cleveland. Who's their pass rushing end? Oh, yeah, it's Myles Garrett. Not going to be a problem. Dolphins linebacker Jerome Baker, meanwhile, week to week with a knee injury. You could see where if you're the Dolphins, and also same deal with Hunt, the right guard, he re-injured his hamstring, and the Dolphins, who were very conservative in treating it the first time, you could certainly see where the Dolphins are going to be like, okay, we got the Titans and the Jets at home. We should be able to beat them, right? So you could see with Jerome Baker and Robert Hunt that maybe we're pointing to Christmas Eve against the Cowboys. Can we get them back in 3 weeks, guys? Maybe. Lions placed defensive tackle Liam McNeil on IR, so he'll miss at least 4 weeks with a knee injury. He's got 5 sacks. I think he's second on the line in sacks. President Baker, that's NCAA President Charlie Baker, he made an unprecedented proposal yesterday from the NCAA. He said, you know what? We think Division I schools should be able to pay the athletes directly through NIL. That they'll be the ones cutting the checks. And this would create, for all the Division I schools that want to go along with this, they would now be their own subdivision of Division I, where not only would they be paying the athletes directly in-house, but they would be creating their own rules for recruiting, transferring, roster size, and a few other things. Once again, what do we need the NCAA for? They're event planners, right?
This would be the boldest move the NCAA's made in 50 years.
This kind of reminds me, I'm going to date myself. This kind of reminds me of like perestroika. You know, we've been doing this system for a long time, and now we're going to radical change. And it sounds great. How'd that work out?
What was that again?
Perestroika. You know, Gorbachev, the mid-'80s, we're going to democratize the economy in Russia. Sounded phenomenal. Didn't work out so well. You know, you've been doing things a certain way for a long time. And in theory, on paper, it was great. It's like putting up the game plan. I remember one year we did an SEC championship game, Missouri against Auburn. Missouri decided not to have defensive ends. I'm not kidding. They put their 3 linemen in the middle 3 there over the center and the 2 guards. And Auburn was like, that was great. And they ran for like 500 yards and scored 52 points. Gary at one point in the fourth quarter said, this looks great on the chalkboard. You know, like the story when the corner raised his hand in the team meeting and said, Coach, that's Jerry Rice. I don't think this is going to work. Right. But this sounds great. Let me get this straight. So now we're going to pay him directly, and we get to create the rules? Sign me up.
This goes back to what we were doing before.
Exactly. Only we were going along with you guys creating the rules. We weren't abiding by them, mind you, but you were creating the rules. So now we get to create the rules? This is great. Call up Greg Sankey.
What's the salary cap in the SEC this year?
Well, you're not going to believe this. It's going to be like the SEC is going to be like Major League Baseball. No cap. The rest of you conferences, you want to do like the NBA and the NHL, that's fine. That's cute. So needless to say, schools would have to put millions annually into a trust that they would then have to manage, and they would pay their own athletes. And they would create the rules. What could go wrong? Middle Tennessee State hired Derek Mason, the former Vandy coach, to be their head coach. Murfreesboro is like 20 minutes away. And New Mexico signed Bronco Mendenhall to a 5-year deal to be their head coach. He was the very successful BYU coach who then was pretty successful at Virginia. He walked away a couple of years ago in his mid-50s. He said, yeah, I gotta recharge my batteries. I got to figure out whether or not I want to do this anymore. And he's coming back at New Mexico? Whew. That's a challenge. Hey, the NBA had the in-season tournament last night. Trips to Vegas, baby, on the line. Milwaukee pounded the Knicks, who are really good. They're like the Cowboys, the Knicks are, Mark. If it's a mediocre to bad team, they'll pound them. Good team? Oh, no, they're going to lose. Giannis with 35. Milwaukee won 146-122. And KD and LeBron both had 31. And when the Lakers needed a timeout late and didn't have possession of the ball, the officials gave them one anyway. Lakers 106, Suns 103. I know that sounds funny, but it's actually what happened. Orlando's in Cleveland. The Heat are in Toronto tonight. Place your bets on the app accordingly. College hoops. Tell you what, FAU played pretty well at Madison.
It's a really entertaining game. Watched the entire second half. It was highly entertaining.
Yeah. FAU played well, and Illinois beat them anyway. 98-89.
98-89. I mean, that's a fun college basketball game right there.
Darn right. So, but Illinois can do that. Illinois, they look great, and then they look like, what the? But, man, they were terrific last night. The other game at the Garden wasn't so shabby. Hey, this just in. UConn lost essentially 3 starters and 2 key reserves from last year's national championship team. And they look really good.
Yes, they do.
Top 5 in the country, and they took North Carolina and just Heisman them. I mean, they stiff-armed them all night, 87-76 in a battle of top 10 teams in the Jimmy V Classic. Remember when Wisconsin around Thanksgiving was coming to Fort Myers to play in that Fort Myers tip-off, and they were which way is Wisconsin going to go? Yeah, they haven't lost since. And they went to East Lansing last night, and they didn't trail.
Never once.
Not for a second. And they beat Michigan State 70-57. Not that anyone in Ann Arbor's paying attention, but their basketball team's below 500 and lost at home to Indiana last night. I mean, no one's paying attention. The Wolverines are in the playoff, but Indiana 78-75. Hoosiers are 7-1. There was an upset, and I got to give San Diego State credit for playing the game. You know, they're one of the elite mid-majors. They went to the championship game last year, and they kept Grand Canyon U on their schedule on the road. So that place was jumping last night. I mean, they got a top 25 team in their barn, and Grand Canyon beat them 79-73, hit a bunch of late threes to pull away and win. FGCU got their third win of the year. Stetson lost. North Florida improved to 5-5 with a 50-point win. And the Gators are 5-3. They trailed at the half at home and then had a nice second-half performance to beat Merrimack 77-57. Women's hoops, FAU a winner. Hockey, Rangers one of the best teams in the league. Ottawa one of the worst. Your final, Ottawa 6, Rangers 2. Dylan Larkin with 2 goals. Patrick Kane did not make his debut last night. Wings over the Sabres, 5-3. And in the Hughes Bowl, there's 3 brothers, 2 on the Devils, 1 on Vancouver. So when New Jersey plays Vancouver, it's the Hughes Bowl. Get it? Vancouver rallied from a 5-2 deficit, tied it at 5, and then the Devils scored with 30-something seconds to go to win it. So Seth will be happy. He'll be tired, but he'll be happy when he joins us. 6-5 Devils. Hey, the salary cap's going up in the NHL.
Yes.
By over $4 million. Doesn't seem like a lot unless you follow the NHL and realize since the pandemic, it's been a flat cap. So some teams may actually be able to afford a third-line defenseman next year.
And they announced they're doing the draft in Vegas coming up.
Yep.
And it's going to be in the Sphere.
Yeah, which I have to admit is cool as heck. You drive by it, you actually like stop and you look at it, you go, damn, this is neat. I mean, and finally, Major League Baseball, the winter meetings, there's nothing going on. And then last night, the Yankees and the Red Sox made a trade. No, really, with each other. Only the 8th transaction, whatever you want to call it, between the two teams in 55 years. Alex Verdugo, 27-year-old outfielder, entering the final year of his contract. Apparently Boston was done with him. Yankees are like, well, he's okay, and he hits left-handed. And goodness knows we don't have anybody who hits left-handed. We'll take him off your hands. So the Yankees sent 3 minor leaguers to the Red Sox for Alex Verdugo to rent him for a year at $9 million. So, hey, I could see why the Red Sox, ever since the Ruth deal, I could see where they're hesitant to trade with the Yankees. I can. But Ohtani has reportedly, and this is the thing, Mark, no one who's pursuing Ohtani is allowed to speak about Ohtani. Ohtani and his representatives have said, if anything goes public, you're done.
What is this, Fight Club?
I know. So Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers, was doing an interview yesterday, and he was asked about Ohtani. And he said, well, we met with him for 2-3 hours a few days ago in L.A. Seems like a nice guy. Oh, my goodness, the outrage. How dare
they should be out then.
Yes.
They're out.
So the Dodgers, and I'm not kidding, the Dodgers general manager, assistant manager immediately came out, held a presser, and disavowed everything that Dave Roberts had to say. They absolutely threw their manager under the bus. People are wondering if this is going to cost him his job. My feeling is If Ohtani says no to the Dodgers for that, it wouldn't have worked anyway. But reportedly, Mark, it's down to the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, with the Giants and the Cubs still lurking. We'll see. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
his name cannot come out of your mouth, or else we cross you off the list. My goodness.
What's Will Smith going to jump up and slap Dave Roberts?
Is that Otani's representative walking
don't
on
know.
the stage and goes, Dave,
Get your name out of my mouth.
I think it's a good thing he didn't take the Yankees or Mets interest seriously. Somehow I just don't think it would have worked. Gotta go out on a limb.
He's West Coast.
Or
He's
Toronto. Or Toronto, go international. Miller and Moulton. Back to our question of the day. Put your money where your mouth is.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mac, that's a great question. Trent, how's your palatial palace?
I live in a hole in the wall. It is a dump, but it's affordable. So that's where we're at. There will not be any backhanded comments about anyone's living space today. I can assure you that.
It's always nice when the listenership's giving it to you.
Oh yeah, I deserve that. I deserve.
Well, it was a little more flippant than you thought it.
It was
And how you meant it. It came off a little more flippant than how you meant it.
Clearly, it did.
It was hysterical, though. As soon as it came out of your mouth, Mark and I made eye contact, kind of like, "Oh."
I just tried to slip in there. It was a nice.
There's some material.
Whoa! Wait a second. Yeah. And we were off the rails.
Probably got a best of out of it, though.
Yeah, between the Palatial Palace and Panther.
Don't run. Stare the sucker down. Okay.
And get big.
What?
And get big.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Get big. Stick that chest out.
All I was thinking of reading. Did you ever see the movie Continental Divide with Belushi?
Yeah, totally. I liked it, actually.
It's a great movie. When he's up in the cabin and the mountain lion comes in.
Yeah, right.
That's all I'm thinking.
Yep.
Kitty?
Totally.
Kitty?
Yeah. And then she shows back up and he's like, how do I look, honey?
I actually remember seeing an interview where Jim Belushi said he thought that was his best work as an actor.
Was it his last movie? I don't know. It was with it. I thought that was
He might have done Neighbors after that, which was a bomb.
Yeah, with Blair Brown, right? Continental Divide.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Hope your week is going well. David Bearman of Pro Football Network will join us in about 35 minutes. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott. Next hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Question of the day, in honor of the Seminole Casinos opening up the sports books on site this week and early next week, where you can go in Tampa and, Hollywood, Immokalee, handful of other places around the state. You could play your craps. You could bet your sports on site. We're saying, okay, all right, if we're taking this to the next level, then we're going to do that on the show too. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. This is beyond pretender contender. This is pick the team amongst the contenders. AFC, got to place your bets today. Because they start taking the bets tomorrow. Today. Who you picking? Who's going to be in Vegas representing the AFC?
Early voting is split between Baltimore and Kansas City at nearly 30% for each of them. Miami with 26% and the other bringing up the remainder of the votes. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network on Twitter, floridasportsnetwork.com. If you want to vote on today's poll question, you can always text us your answer if you don't really get into the X thing at 21,000.
The Miami Dolphins are the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs at this moment in time. Baltimore, by a half a game in conference record, is the 2 seed. Don't worry, these two teams play. So they'll battle it out amongst themselves. The Chiefs a game back, as are the Jags. But the Chiefs, after this weekend, when they host the Bills, They've got a very doable schedule. Here's the problem, though. They don't score points like they used to. This is a serious thing. Like, every time their defense has had the audacity to allow 20 or more points in a game, they've lost. I mean, you put 21 up on the Chiefs. Apparently, that's a winning number. When have we thought in the last 5 years 21 was a winning number against the Chiefs? It may be in blackjack, but not against the Chiefs. But this year it is. That could be a problem. Could be a problem. Something's got to change here. Mark's putting his money on the Chiefs, baby.
I think they'll figure it out. I think the offense is getting slightly better with how they're using Pacheco. I am concerned about Kelsey, though. I thought Pat Kerwin yesterday on the show brought up some valid points that he's not getting the targets that he was getting. That they have done, defenses have done a good job of slowing him down. And is he slowing down?
Well, he's 34. I will say he averaged 20 yards a catch against the Packers, but his targets were only 5. His catches were 4, but his targets were 5. And you would think, with the wide receivers struggling the way they are, that his targets would be 8, 10, 12. But as Pat pointed out, people know the wide receivers can't get open, so they're making it very difficult for Pat to get the ball to Kelsey. And or maybe at 34, you might be able to cover him occasionally one-on-one. So, but Mark, I mean, I can't believe it. You have confidence in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. How dare you, sir, take that big a risk with our $20?
I know. Going chalk with 20, that 20 will get me 25.
But that's okay. It's been a pretty good bet in the AFC here lately. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Quick sidebar. Did you see the teams yesterday? The NFL picked who their representatives are for the Walter Payton Award. And Mahomes is the Chiefs representative. And, that's community service. That's, you're basically the best human on our team is what the Walter Payton Award really is. And the Chiefs said, the Mahomes. Yeah, we're comfortable with him. So I thought that in and of itself is like, huh. So let me get this straight. This guy's the best player in the league, and he's the best human in the damn league too? Man! Come on now.
I can't catch a break.
That's not fair. All right. But I'm rooting for the Dolphins. And Mark, come on, you are too.
Absolutely I am.
We're all in on that. We so desperately want the Dolphins. I'm picking the Ravens.
And 1, because we're here. 2, you and I would just love to see how South Florida would react to a Dolphin playoff run. But as a sports fan, of the teams we picked, which one would you want to see the most? Miami Dolphins brand of football is exciting. It's fun.
How funny is this? If we ask the question, which team is the most boring of the 3, Dolphins, Ravens, or Chiefs, the answer might be the Chiefs.
It is right now. I think the networks would love to see the Miami Dolphins go on a little run. I do. That brand of football is exciting. People will watch.
So we think the 2 most fun teams are the Cowboys and the Dolphins, right? They're also the teams that are, no?
Well, the Niners.
You think the Niners are more fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
End arounds, their playbook. Obviously it's similar to what Miami's doing. They've learned under one, he learned under him. No, right. I think it's San Francisco and Miami. That's okay. That's the one I want to see.
By the way, could you imagine that Super Bowl hype? So you got the one quarterback that, remember, that's the guy we were tanking for. I know Burrow went 1 and Tua went 5, but originally heading into that year, we were all tanking for Tua. Purdy, of course, the last pick of the draft. The one guy learned under the other. Then you dig up all the Montana, Marino. We go back to the 84 Super Bowl season. Man, we could write these scripts right now. You want to go out to Vegas, do those shows live, 3 a.m? Huh? We'll have a great guest list.
I'm in.
Okay. So do we stay up all night, do the show, and then go to bed?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Go to bed at 6, get up at around 2. Act like we're doing an afternoon show again, because that's when most of the guests are on Radio Row. Basically, just run tape from 3 to 7.
Boy, it'd be great. It would be great. But neither one of us picking the Dolphins. Rooting for the Dolphins, not picking the Dolphins. Mark sticking with chalk. I'm going with Lamar and company. I say he stays healthy. Hell, if he stayed healthy the last 2 years, they might have gone one of the last 2. He's healthy. They're tied for the best record in the conference. That's how it goes. So I'm going with Baltimore, who hosts the Dolphins. Dolphins have a hard time with the Ravens, although they had that miracle comeback against them last year. Weren't they down like 3 scores in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
And Tua went nuts?
That was a terrifically fun game.
So, and that could be a game that determines who's the 1 seed later this season. What are they? That's right around New Year's Day. I think they're playing on New Year's Eve, something like that. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. I'll retweet it. I swear I will.
Good.
As soon as we go to break, I will. And you can go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote accordingly. So that's our question of the day. It's time. We give you the Thanksgiving. Everything before Thanksgiving is the prelims. After Thanksgiving, we start getting to the main, event. And we've decided we're drawing the line in the sand right now. We're bringing out the main event, a fight early. Let's go. Let's get this thing over with.
The key, and you mentioned it in the starting 5, really with the Dolphins, David, is that offensive line's a little banged up. They need to get through these 2 weeks and win and get healthy.
Yep.
I mean, they need to be healthy for that Baltimore game.
Dallas, Ravens, Bills. That's how they end the season. And obviously, if you're Miami, if you're going to win 2 out of those 3, you want to win the 2 AFC games. You want to beat Baltimore and Buffalo. And you want to beat Buffalo because it might assure that they're not in the playoffs.
And that you're not playing them again the following week.
Exactly.
I was talking with a Buffalo fan. That's the one thing that bothered them. They looked at it and said, man, I thought maybe Miami would have the division clinched and have nothing to play for the final week and sit guys. But now it looks like they're going to be playing for a 1, a 2, seeding is going to be there. So the game's going to still be important for Miami. By the way, if you're playing, if the 1's out of reach, do you play everybody for the 2, or do you sit guys and play the next week and not care about your seeding?
Well, here's the problem. Let's just say the Ravens are going to be the 1 because Miami lost to them the week before. Now the Dolphins are in a sticky situation. Am I still ahead of the Chiefs? Because if I'm tied with the Chiefs, but the Chiefs own the tiebreaker on us, then I might be inclined to rest guys because the likelihood is I'm going to be the 3. But, Mark, not only do I really want to at least be the 2, so in a best case scenario, the Chiefs have to come to us, but I don't want Buffalo making the playoffs. And it's not because they're a division rival. It's because they're dangerous. I mean, in theory, they've never won a road playoff game, though, right?
Right, but you look at their quarterback and you look at everybody else that could be in that spot.
Right.
6, 7 spots right now. You look at all of the wild cards in the AFC and say, who scares me the most? It's the Buffalo Bills.
Right. Let's go. The 5 right now is Pittsburgh. Right now, the quarterback's Trubisky. The 6 is Cleveland. Right now, the quarterback's Flacco. The 7 is Minshew Mania. Then it's C.J. Stroud, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. Kind of sticks out. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. The play of the day is coming up.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's who wins the AFC. It's just get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
What was that, David? Were you talking to me?
I was talking to DC in the Twitch chat room here. My best friend, who has no connections, was, first off, I didn't even know he cares all that much about college football. He is really bent out of shape about Florida State being left out. He's just like, we can't have this in a major sport. This is an injustice. I'm like, look at you.
Yeah, I'm excited for
DC. I love that you're producing the show from the comments room there.
Right.
But if you think we'd be bringing Philly to Vegas with us, you're crazy.
Also, you don't know what's involved in producing from Radio Row in the Super Bowl. Felipe be useless. Love him, but useless.
Especially if Miami was in it.
Regardless, he'd be useless.
He would turn you guys down if Miami was in it. He'd be like,
too many stars. He'd be starstruck.
That's great.
You got to just put your head down and work in the radio room. And I don't even know what it's like anymore. It's certainly not the same.
Most starstruck I ever was when I met Bill Raftery. I was just loving that. I love Bill Raftery.
Couldn't get him on the show. Wouldn't do it.
Really?
No.
Nope.
And I mean, I had Vern reach out to Raft on our behalf.
And nothing.
No, and he was in town to do the tip-off.
Yeah, I did it 2 years in a row, actually. First 2 years of it.
Gosh, I love him. I told him, I said, I just shook his hand. I was like, you're the reason I love college basketball. Straight up. Thanks, young man.
I don't get started. When we did Radio Row, I walked up to Woody Page. There was a big outdoor event, and I walked up to Woody, and I said, hey, man, I really like your stuff. Think you do a great job. Mark Miller, nice to meet you. And I started walking away. He goes, where are you going?
Sit here and talk.
So I sat with him. He was that was, and then Cassie and I saw Kalashaw, and he was hanging out with nobody. And it just looked like Kalashaw always hung out with nobody.
Some people just give off the vibe of
that was the vibe he gave.
He's hanging with his friends.
He could be the greatest guy in the world. To me, he's like guy.
The show does nothing for me, but I always, if I looked up and it was on, I just wanted to see what Woody wrote on the board.
Yep.
And then I love the fact he changed it during the commercial break. It'd be different for the next segment. Very creative.
Pretty iconic. Not as iconic as Rocky IV.
Not much is.
Because if eyes can change, views can change, then we all can change.
Then we
go to two guys here beating their brains out and 20 billion.
Let's go to the shot of Gorbachev with the thing on his head and everything.
So great.
Golly. They like painted Greenland on his head. Here you go. Boom.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hey, we don't mix sports and politics. We don't get involved at all. We had a long talk about this years ago. We saw where things were going, and we made a choice. It's like we're either in or we're out. And we decided to stay out. And, you know, it probably cost us, quite frankly, clicks and popularity. But we just said, I don't know. I think people turn to us to get away from that. You know, they just want their sports fix, you know, a little humor to go with it, blah, blah, blah. So I hesitate to bring this up, but it crosses over.
Right. I think I know where you're going here.
Did you see what our governor yesterday? Okay. This is what cracked me up more than anything. Is these guys, they got their campaign managers and their strategists, and they, you know, map out who they're going to talk to and talking points and everything. And then you go, excuse me, Governor, can I ask you about Florida State getting excluded from the playoff? And it doesn't matter at that point what the campaign is focused on, what it is he wants to say, the whole deal. We're cutting right through all that crap. We're going to sports. Boom. And at that moment in time, Mark, what is it we look for?
The 6 seconds of truth, David.
And there it is. Truth. I don't know if he's given 6 seconds of truth on the whole campaign trail, but we got it yesterday. We got it yesterday. Okay. Governor DeSantis is like, and there's however billions our budget is, and we're earmarking this for this, this for this, this for this. And I'm putting $1 million aside so we can sue somebody about Florida State getting screwed. I got a family full of Noles fans. We do the chop and everything, and we are not happy. and somebody's going to pay.
And it's going to be us.
Right.
And Florida State. But damn it, we're mad, and we're
Yes.
mad as hell, and someone's going to hear about it.
Yeah. And I got to admit, for those 6 seconds, I'm like, you know what? I don't know if this gets you votes or costs you votes, but you know what? You don't care either. It's cutting right through all the other stuff. I'll prepare for the debate tonight another time. Okay. Now you're cutting right where I live. You're cutting me right where I live, literally in Tallahassee. The hell with the Ukraine. Okay, and then Gaza and the deficit and the border and all of that. No. Let's talk about something important. Florida State got screwed from the playoff, okay? And here's what I gotta say. All right. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I loved it. I'm sure it probably cost him. Some Gator fans may go, you know what? I can't vote for that guy anymore. Fine. Listen, it's not going to make me vote one way or the other for or against him, but I did love it. I'm like, there we go. That's Ron. That's not Governor DeSantis right there. That's not a guy who wants to be President DeSantis. That's Ron. All right. Now we're getting somewhere.
Should have just finished. I mean, really and truly, he was close, David, and it was great, and I'm with you. But he should have just said, and when I'm president, I'm bringing Florida State to the Capitol to celebrate their national championship.
There you go.
They're coming to the White House.
Yeah. And then he should have had the band in the back going, okay, hit it, guys.
And chomped his way right the hell off the thing. Yep. Put his stripping boots on and just walked right out.
Have the horse ride through the whole 9 yards.
You know what? You're right, Mark. You're right. And if you were his campaign aide, you would have gone up to him. You said, Governor, almost all of it was great. But next time, if it comes up again, if Megyn Kelly asks you a question Wednesday night, this is what you want to say. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was real. I don't quite know. Who are we suing, by the way? Boo Corrigan? That would have been my follow-up. I appreciate the sentiment, Governor. I have a question. Who are we suing?
Somebody has to pay.
Somebody's getting sued.
Somebody.
Barry Alvarez?
Alabama, David. We're suing Alabama.
Right. Who we? Are we Reese Davis? Who are we mad at here?
College Game Day.
Right. Herb Street? We're suing her. Okay. All right. Let me know.
Desmond Howard.
I'm filling out the paperwork here. I just need to know who we suing. The state of Florida after. Okay.
If Favre can sue McAfee,
right.
DeSantis can sue somebody, right?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Herb Street. Fine. By the way, when we go to court, does Corso show up with the thing?
That's how they decided. In fact, the judge, instead of Corso, the judge has 2 pieces of headgear. He's got
and at the end, okay, he rules by putting on the headgear. Oh, that'd be great.
Courtroom erupts.
Be great. I want it live on court TV. Do we still
He's got
have
a
that?
spear in one hand and he's got the elephant head in the other.
Yeah, and then the people in the courtroom are holding up cardboard signs that say stuff, clever
Totally.
stuff.
Just like game day.
Hard hats on.
Got one guy
First
in the back.
witness is Connor Stallions.
Yeah.
Got one guy in the back with the Washington State flag. Okay. Now we're talking.
A great promo for College Game Day inside of a courthouse right now.
It really would. I think we just did their 2024 promotion campaign. I don't know. I just listen to. I find the whole political scene right now to be just awful. So I all the way around. So I enjoyed it. That was. If I'm out of line bringing it up, I apologize.
Not at all. Not at all,
All
because he jumped into the fray of college sports. There are times when the two cross and we bring them up. Very rarely, but when they come into our arena, we're allowed to play ball, David.
Right.
He came to our side of the river.
Thank you. All right. David Bearman, Pro Football Network. We'll get back on track here. And coming up in about 10 minutes' time from ProFootballNetwork.com, But right now, Mark,
one last thing. It's a really, who he'd sue? We were right. We were on it. He'd sue ESPN. He already hates Disney.
Oh, that's right. But see, now that gets back, now the story loses its sense of humor, but you're right. By the way, somebody yesterday said the difference for Disney revenue-wise between Alabama making the playoff and Florida State could be $150 million.
I believe it. 100%.
Not that entered into the equation at all. This was strictly because Jordan Travis got hurt. This is not a TV show. How dare you bring that up, sir?
That Alabama-Michigan rating is going to be a monster.
Through the roof.
NFL playoff numbers.
Time for the play of the day. What do you have for us, Trent?
We go to Staples Center in LA. It's the NBA in-season tournament that you guys love so very much. LeBron James, Kevin Durant squaring off, always delivers. LeBron asked post-game if taking over in the fourth quarter ever gets old, and his answer was one word: nope.
James drives in, flips it in. Timeout, Suns.
Nothing overly spectacular for a call, since it's just another day in the office for the NBA's all-time leading scorer. LeBron had 31 points, 11 assists, 8 boards. KD also chipped in 31 points. LeBron, by the way, is going to be 39 years old in 3 weeks. Lakers cover -2.5 in the under 231.5 hits. The Lakers play the Pelicans in the Final Four on Thursday.
Indiana, Milwaukee, New Orleans, and the Lakers in your in-season tournament. Well, the NBA did all they could. I mean, they had Stetson, FGCU, and FIU in the Lakers bracket before they had to play Phoenix.
The fans are into it.
I guess.
I have no problem with it. It just has no meaning whatsoever.
But we're going to Vegas, baby.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I mean, I watched some Knicks Bucks last night, but then in the third quarter, the Bucks blew them out, so I turned it off.
Yeah, Ambient, I hear you. I just don't want to overdo the college hoops thing because, trust me, you'll get a lot of that. I'm a huge LeBron fan. I hadn't gotten to use him yet. So
MJ or LeBron?
LeBron. And I'm someone who grew up watching him I mean, he ended my franchise. Look at the Pistons
No,
now.
I know.
You know what I mean? I should hate LeBron, but he's unbelievable.
Yeah, you should. I hated MJ.
Yeah.
I did.
Yep.
I mean,
So did my dad. That's what I know. I know.
I mean, he's the best player that ever played. It's not LeBron, but
the debate that will never, ever, ever get settled. Kobe, give me a break. See, that's what I can't do. I can't do the Kobe thing.
Even, Mr. Boutte, Dr. Jack, who used to come on our show at one point, said, I think Kobe is as good of an offensive player as MJ.
That's fair.
And he
was a damn good defender too, but he's a carbon copy and a lesser version of Michael, so how can he be the best? You know what I mean? Could you say Jordan best peak, LeBron best career?
Well,
to play for 20 plus years, be the all-time leading scorer, all that stuff. 10K rebounds, 10K or assists, excuse me.
Well, you can, because it's like running back. How many people consider Emmitt Smith the greatest running back of all time? He's got the numbers. Nobody's got his numbers. But most people think it's Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton.
Ambient. I would just suggest you go watch the physicality of the game that MJ played and then look at what you said. LeBron could go play in MJ's day. That's the one thing. With that body, he could play it at any era. Any physicality would not have bothered him.
Now, I would say LeBron is better in his late 30s than Jordan was. I mean, what LeBron's doing now is
amazing.
He's not getting enough credit, actually, from the people who have soured on LeBron. I would hope they would at least. I mean, he's turning 39 in 3 weeks.
Well, that's the thing. We're not.
I mean, he's easily one of the 10 best players in the game today. He's 39 in 3 weeks. I mean, this is damn ridiculous.
Yep, we're numb to it completely.
Also, what helped Jordan's popularity, he didn't get involved in politics or issues. I mean, some people held it against him, but most people
very few did, though, compared to the number of people that hold it against LeBron.
Right. And we're a lot more polarized now. So to get involved in something now,
LeBron might be the most hated athlete on the planet,
which is remarkable.
One of the most liked. Don't get me wrong, but he is clearly one of the most hated.
And he's never gotten in trouble. Never been in hot water with anybody.
Nope.
It's remarkable.
RCB, there's no doubt. And LeBron's bigger, and and it's why Mark said he could have played in Jordan's era because of how physical he was. But
who am I calling here?
David Bearman, Pro Football.
All right.
While you're sitting in your palatial palace, go to the phone.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott coming up in our Great 8 hour. Our question of the day, which we are going to throw right at David Bearman of Pro Football Network in a matter of seconds. Okay, time to put your money where your opinion is. Who is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl? Chiefs, Ravens, Dolphins, other. Those are your choices. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. All right, David Bearman, Pro Football Network, and you can follow him, by the way, on Twix, Twitter/X, at David Bearman, PFN. Okay, we're coming in high and hard, right at you. Who you voting for?
So you think a guy that oversees betting in NFL is qualified to answer this question?
Yes.
Yes, we do. And we are just now in Florida able to make legal bets here in the last little while. Our sports books are opening up over the course of the next 3 days. The Hard Rock app is alive and well, so we can finally do this legally and not need a guy anymore, David.
Congratulations, by the way, on that. I know it was such an easy process to get sports betting legal in Florida. So congratulations on all that. For the AFC, and I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and I like the Miami Dolphins, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I did it before the season started, and I'll do it again now. I think the Miami Dolphins, if you look at the picture from top to bottom about their offense and their defense now vastly improved with Jalen Ramsey back there, I think that if you look at the top teams in the AFC, you have Kansas City is struggling on, believe it or not, more offense than defense. You know, Mahomes can't seem to get it done with the weapons that he doesn't have anymore. Baltimore, while solid, I think still has some flaws on both sides of the ball to the point where they're not consistent. I think the Dolphins with offense and defense are the team to beat in the Super Bowl, in the AFC. And Jacksonville the other night was great, but Lawrence now injured, Kirk now out. They lost guys on offensive line and defensive line. If Miami can prove in full well acknowledging they have not beaten a good team this year, if Miami can prove it down the stretch in their 3-game stretch versus Buffalo, Baltimore, and Dallas, I think with the way they are at home, undefeated at home right now, I think if they get the 1 seed, they're the team that I would put money on them to win the AFC. Believe it or not, it hasn't happened in a lot of people's lifetime, but the Dolphins are the team that I think goes to the Super Bowl.
How concerned are you, David, with their offensive line? Because when they've played good teams, the offensive line has not been good enough for Tua. They've been able to sack him. I think in those 3 games, I think it's 11 sacks, and that's the difference. It's kind of the line of demarcation. If you put Tua down on the ground 3 or more times, you beat him. So how concerned are you with that Dolphins O-line, David?
It's always been the story. It's been health. It's been the offensive line. I think if healthy, and it looks like they're going to be getting Trent Armstead back, he's the biggest difference. You know, play by play, when he's in versus when he's out, load of difference. And I think if he can stay healthy, which is a big if, I think the offensive line holds up. It's definitely the concern because when Tua is put on his butt, the Dolphins aren't as good. They have proven last year. If you get to Tua, the Dolphins have a hard time. But if he stays upright, and a lot of that has to do with that line, they have been better this year than last year. The line for that isn't high. Get it? That's a pun. The bar. But I do think that right now it's good enough. It's healthy.
David Bearman, Chief Content Officer, Pro Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com. You can follow the site at PFN365. Follow David at David Bearman, Bearman, PFN on Twitter/X. All right. Well, you talk betting. I mean, don't we have an over-under that's like an Iowa football over-under this week? I mean, is it the Steelers game?
Yeah, Steelers and Patriots at 30.
Yeah, it's historically low. I sent a note out on you call it Twix yesterday, that if it should fall into the 20s, which I got a note overnight, one sports book that already has the 29.5. It would be only 4th time back to 1986, which is the time that over-under started getting published. One of the 4th times that you've seen an over-under in the 20s. The other 3 all went over, and they were all on December 26th, 1993. I don't know if you guys know what happened that day. I couldn't figure it out other than very cold temperatures. Very cold temperatures, no snow in Philadelphia, New England, and Chicago. And those 3 games were all 28.5, or 29. and they all went over the total because there was no snow. I have a feeling that the weather people thought the snowstorm was coming. But this one is historically low at 29.5 and 30. And believe it or not, guys, I'm still taking the under. I blind bet Army Navy under every single year. And you got to go under in this one as well. New England, I do. Blind bet all the academy games, Army, Navy, Air Force, when they play each other. It's some absurd number of 29 of the last 30 have gone under the total. It's insane. Blind bet it every single time. Don't worry about the number. It's my advice. But as far as this game is concerned with New England and Pittsburgh, the Patriots have scored 13 total points over the last 3 games. They're averaging 12.3 points per game. It really doesn't matter who the quarterback is whatsoever. They have no offense. The Steelers just lost their quarterback. They're adjusting to a new offensive coordinator, and they haven't scored much over the last couple of games. And the New England defense, very underrated, have not allowed anybody over 20 points since they faced the Miami Dolphins 5 weeks ago. So I am playing the under.
And probably the right way to go. Which team in the AFC, Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, Buffalo, currently not in the playoffs, do you have the most faith to make the postseason?
I like Houston. I think their schedule's good and easy enough, and C.J. Stroud and company are good enough. And the second team I would pick in that area would be Indianapolis. Indianapolis has an easy schedule, somewhat of a veteran backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. So those are the 2 teams I would put up. Although I do think Denver is doing extremely well, but if I had already bet on Houston to win the division a few weeks ago. Don't think that'll happen anymore with their loss in Jacksonville, but I did bet that. And I do think Indy sneaks in as well. It's going to be a surprise when you see 3 teams possibly from the worst division, second worst division in football, make the playoffs in the AFC South. That could actually.
David, I read an interesting column yesterday. It was a Pittsburgh Post-Gazette columnist who said, I know what the national narrative is about Mike Tomlin, but sometimes a guy his run's over, and that he believes Tomlin should be coaching for his job in the final 5 games. And he said in the first 4 years, he was Bill Walsh. Since then, he's been Marvin Lewis or Marty Schottenheimer. He's won 3 playoff games in the last 12 years. We're the Steelers. We should be better. Which narrative are you on? The national narrative or the Pittsburgh narrative?
I guess it depends on what your bar is. The old adage, if you don't win 10 games in a conference championship every year, you should be fired, like the Ryan Day philosophy in Ohio State, losing to Michigan and not being able to win the last 3 years. I have no problem with Mike Tomlin. I'm more on the national side of this one. This guy wins 9 games every single year. Now, we all like the Miami Dolphins and have seen the Miami Dolphins win 8 to 10 games for 2 decades and not do anything, and they went through 7 different coaches. But Tomlin has a system. I don't think he has very good players right now, and I would put that on the entire organization to get him better players. But he is still – they have 7 wins with a team that's not good. They win 9, 10 games every year with teams that probably are 5 and 6 win teams. So I'm not putting this on Mike Tomlin. I'm putting this on the organization to get Mike Tomlin better players, because what he's doing right now is better than anybody thought the Steelers would be. Now, they don't play a good brand of football, and they shouldn't be winning these games, but they are because they have a head coach that can get it done. So I'm on the national narrative. I like Mike Tomlin. I don't think he should be fighting for his job, because I don't think you should lose your job if you make the playoffs and you win 9, 10 games every year, because all it takes is a couple of bounces or a couple of fortunate plays for you to go from 9 to 10 wins, 12 wins is a whole nother situation. The guys won during the COVID year. They started 11-0, and that team wasn't that good either. So I'm on the narrative side. I like Mike Tomlin. I wish every team had a Mike Tomlin.
And we wish every team had a Joe Burrow. So I can get with you there on that. I'm just curious, what do you take from San Francisco's beatdown of the Eagles? Was that just a matter of the Eagles had played all those plays on defense the past couple of weeks, and that unit was a little tired? Or is San Francisco that much at the head of the class in the NFC?
I think San Francisco is the best team in the NFC. I think they're better than Philadelphia. I think they probably beat Philadelphia last year if Brock Purdy or anybody not named Christian McCaffrey was their quarterback for more than a drive. I think San Francisco's the best team in the NFL. They're 9-0, winning games by average of 20 points or more. 8 of those 9 games been double-digit wins. The only one that wasn't was when Sean McVay treated all of us with a timeout and kick a field goal down 13 at the end of the game. It was beautiful. When Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel are healthy and the whole offense is healthy, that San Francisco team is 9-0 this year, and it goes further back to about 15 straight wins going back to last year. They're just better. As far as Philadelphia is concerned, I still think they're good. I still think they're going to win the NFC East, and I still think they're going to be probably the number 1 seed if you look at what their schedule is the rest of the way after their Dallas game. I think they play the Giants twice in Arizona. So Philadelphia winds up winning the division and probably holding on to the 1 seed in the Super Bowl, and the NFC would go through Philly still. But I would take San Francisco in a rematch if everyone's healthy. You saw what they could do. I don't think he's 23 points better than Philly. I think Jalen Hurts was not 100% healthy. Left the game for a little while. A couple of plays went the wrong way, but they're the better team, San Francisco. And I would take them in the rematch. I took them last year and think that game was completely different if they had a quarterback that was able to play. And they are good. Are they 42-19 good over the Eagles? No, that deficit shouldn't have been what it was. But I do think that they are the best team and will win the NFC this year.
Your thoughts on the Bills? Is that organization just, I don't want to say crumbling, but is it just going backwards and we're not willing to admit it? Or are they just having one of those years where they've lost some games they shouldn't have and they're better than what they are?
1 month ago, I had the opportunity to bet the no on the Pittsburgh playoffs to make the playoffs. No, not make the playoffs. And I took it at plus money because I looked at what they've been doing, turnover central. I think Sean McDermott's not a good coach when he loses his coordinators like Brian Dable. And their schedule the rest of the way is pretty difficult. And they had the opportunity versus a struggling Chiefs team this week to reverse the narrative and keep their playoff hopes alive because the rest of the AFC is losing, as you saw last week with Cleveland and Pittsburgh. But I don't think it's a very good football team, and I think it starts at the top. I don't think Sean McDermott is a very good coach. He has lost a couple of games that we all blamed on the overtime rules in the playoffs, and we blamed on LeVar Hamlin and emotion and all that. And I think he's getting a pass. I think Sean McDermott should be fighting for his job in the Mike Tomlin question because that talent on that team is much better than 6-6. So I go to the coaching there, and once he lost Dable, that offense has struggled. They made Dorsey the scapegoat. I don't think they're not playing good football, but I think they should be much better than they are. And I don't know if McDermott got the extension. He's brought his team to the playoffs X number of years in a row, but they missed the playoffs this year. You got to question how a coach keeps his job of a team that doesn't make the playoffs that was an AFC championship contender.
Did Jordan Love figure it out, David? Have we seen in the last couple of weeks that Jordan Love is starting to figure this game out, that it's slowing down for him, and now he's, I'm not saying he's going to be the next whatever, but that he's going to be a competent to above average NFL quarterback now?
I think Jordan Love has always been an above average competent quarterback. It just takes time to get used to an offense and get used to new weapons when you lose some wide receivers and such. I don't think he's the next Aaron Rodgers or next Brett Favre. I don't necessarily think the Packers have their quarterback for the next 20 years since they seem to always have quarterbacks for 20 years. Must be nice. But I think he's a good quarterback. I wouldn't put him in the Tua Burrow conversation in terms of that draft class, but I think he is a good, competent quarterback that should be fine for a couple of years and helping the Packers stay relevant in that conference. I don't think we're looking at an all-timer, but I also don't think we're looking at the guy who, whose team was 2-5 and didn't look like he knew what he was doing weeks ago.
David, we're always appreciative of your time. Love your insight. Hopefully we can talk before the holidays. Thanks so much. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. Enjoy a good week of football. The 4:00 slate is awesome. You have a great Sunday night primetime game, and at least one of the two Monday night games will grab our attention. So enjoy the football.
David Bearman, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com, the Chief Content Officer. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X. David Bearman, Bearman, PFN. David Bearman, PFN.
That is, I think he took a shot at your game Monday night, David.
Well, hell, I took a shot at our game.
But I think that was a blatant shot at the game you're working on Monday.
Yes. It was. And you know what? It's a fair shot. 4-8, hosting 6-6. I could see where maybe he's not happy about that. Maybe he doesn't have Tommy DeVito mania. And nobody should have Tommy DeVito mania, by the way. But maybe Seth Everett does. And he'll join us next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning.
Hi, Seth.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. David, do you know which game you're going to on Monday?
Yeah, I'll be in Jersey.
There you go.
Yep.
It's cold here.
I was in Minneapolis. It was 7.
It's 29. It's a big heat wave.
Remember,
heat wave.
I'm fat. Okay, I can handle it.
Okay.
I've got my own layer. I put on a layer or two. I'm good. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm good.
It's cold. This week, I had John Kincaid on Sports with Friends.
Oh, okay.
And he's recovering from cancer.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah. And we talked about the MetLife game in February. The Devils play the Flyers. He works for the Flyer station.
Mm-hmm.
He said his oncologist forbid him to go to that game. He said it's going to be 25 degrees Saturday night, 8 o'clock outside at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, that's not the best idea in the world.
I play it during the day. I don't understand the night part of it. I mean, I understand it. It's television, but whatevs.
Well, also it's colder at night, which you're trying to
Yeah,
do
but
the
it's not
whole
like the
ice
ice would
thing.
melt.
Well, remember they had the Super Bowl there in early February, and it was like
I was there.
55 that day.
My great acting job when I pretended to like both teams.
Right.
Super Bowl 48. What are they up to now? 50 something?
It'll be 58.
Wow, that was 10 years
It's
ago.
easy for me to remember because my birthday's in 2 weeks, and then I turn, and then the Super Bowl is 2 months later, that number. So it's easy for me to remember Super Bowls.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said just now.
Well, David's the same age as the Super Bowl is basically what he said.
Yeah.
Hates the Super Bowl?
No,
No,
my
same
birthday.
age.
My birthday is the Super Bowl, right?
Oh. Is
He's old.
Buck and Aikman doing it this year?
No, they don't do.
It's CBS, right?
Yeah, Nance Romo in Vegas. Then it's Fox, and then it's NBC, ABC.
Oh.
So Fox will do 2 out of 3.
Yeah, but then but
Brady,
that's the big thing, Brady.
right? Yep. Be interesting to see if one of the other networks decides to make Olsen their guy.
It would be fascinating. I mean, he's
I
done.
don't know
He's done great. He's done great.
He's done well. He definitely has. I mean, people think he's good.
Right.
I don't know how many people love him, but people are like, "Man, he's good."
People don't hate him.
Exactly.
Which I think is as big in this as that because.
But are you going to replace Collinsworth? No.
Not yet. But
okay.
But
you're not replacing Romo. So where does
not
Olsen
yet.
go?
Not yet.
Not this year.
No, not for a while. I mean, they got too many years on that contract, but the shine is off Romo.
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying for Olsen.
Oh, no.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's our third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network anyway. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our question of the day, our poll question. Okay, put your money where your mouth is. Who's representing the AFC in the Super Bowl? Ravens, Chiefs, Dolphins, or somebody else? Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com. All right, Seth, you vote. Seth Everett joining us, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, Seth_Everett. Vote. What do you got?
I'm going to say Baltimore, but I think the NFC team, whether it's the Niners, the Eagles, or the Cowboys, is a touchdown favorite.
Ooh.
The NFC will be a touchdown. Whoever the NFC is will be a touchdown favorite.
Huh.
I'd take that 7 right now because there's no way it'll be that high. But I like that you throw spread out that early in your appearance this week, Seth. I'm fired up about that. It's not normally like you to go right to the betting mound this quick.
Well, the other podcast that I do not name, I talked to an odds maker, and we were talking about the big thing in my brain right now is the Florida State. I mean, you guys did it ad nauseum, I'm sure. The Florida State would be a 2-touchdown underdog against anybody in the playoff, right? If Florida State gets in, if they get in because of merit, they get in. And to that end, we were then talking about the AFC, just like you guys were. And then it was all the AFC teams are less than the NFC teams.
And that could be, especially right now, the Niners, when healthy, look as if they may be in their own class this year. Right. That there may be nobody whose best game can beat the Niners' best game.
Right.
But if
that's
by
why
chance,
Eagles Dallas is a massive game to them this week.
Agreed. But I could see that. I think maybe, and who's going to take them down? They've just dismantled both Dallas and Philly.
Right.
I mean, who is going to take them down before the Super Bowl, if not injuries?
That's the only thing right now that it appears that could take down the Niners are the Niners, if you know what I mean. Because when they were without Williams and they were without Debo, it was not the same team. I mean, they got beat by the Browns, for crying out loud.
So can I flip the switch? Can I ask you guys something?
Sure.
Is the media full of crap? Period.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Okay. That's
right.
Seth Everett's
Thanks for having
poll
me on.
question of the day.
Thanks.
Go to
Tomorrow's
SethEverett.com.
poll question. Is the media full of crap when they make the dramatic statement about Florida State being the only undefeated Power 5 team not to be in the playoff? And here's the argument. Stop calling the ACC a Power 5 conference. Just acknowledge that there are Power 2, there's the B level, and the C level. And just acknowledge that. And then there's no controversy.
Well, I think, Seth, I would argue beginning next year, we can say that. I will say this year, the Pac-12 was solid this year.
Yeah.
It really was. They had at one point, they had 5, 6 teams ranked. It's a solid conference this year. I mean, Clemson's might be the best 8-4 team in the country. North Carolina was decent. Louisville obviously went 10-2. Don't know if they were as good as their record. They had a favorable schedule. But now that you're taking Texas and Oklahoma out of the Big 12 going forward, I'm okay with saying there's Coke and Pepsi, and then there's ginger ale and Dr. Pepper.
Mountain Dew.
Okay.
I was addicted to Mountain Dew for 18 years.
And I would say Mountain Dew is more relevant than the ACC. You know me. I've called it RC Cola. No, I mean, it's Dr. Pepper and RC. They're a canyon away from Coke and Pepsi.
The funny part is I really feel for Florida State, and I don't like them. And I know they want out of the ACC. They don't hide that in the slightest.
No.
Them and Clemson, they're begging to get out of the conference. Go get out of get riddance to them. Like, I'm done with them, and yet I feel bad for them because they've done everything were asked of them, and they got screwed. But they would be a 2-touchdown underdog, and that would be your TCU going to the playoff again. That's the same thing.
But how'd TCU do last year in the playoff?
I don't know.
They beat
won.
Michigan.
Yeah.
They won the
right,
final game.
So thank
you for emphasizing the argument of why Florida State should have gone to the game, Seth.
I wanted Florida to start in there. I really did. I don't know.
Okay. I don't understand why you want Florida State and Clemson to leave. I mean, with all due respect, nothing else matters but football anymore. And right now, they're the two best programs in the conference that your beloved alma mater is in. If they leave, that conference falls apart. That becomes a spring football league.
I know. Do it. Just put me out of my misery. Stop pretending that you're a player in this. You're not.
Well,
The
they're
ACC
stuck,
is
Seth. Stuck. Seth, they're in a bad marriage. They can't get out.
They're
I
doing
know.
it for the kids, and the kids are Wake Forest and Syracuse.
Right. So they have all these highfalutin lawyers trying to get out of the ACC. Get them out. Goodbye.
Don't you want parents
will,
to
Seth.
stay together?
Seth, come April.
It's
conference
when.
is
It's not
gone.
if. Right. It's when.
Right.
Good. Goodbye.
And Syracuse will be playing South Florida and East Carolina in conference
right.
games very soon.
In the Boca Raton Bowl. Come on.
So it's like, I've
I
got
want the
family
t-shirt.
nearby.
I want a t-shirt. I want a t-shirt.
Seth, everybody wants a t-shirt. It's one of the first things Miller and Moulton learned doing a show together.
Right.
Okay. The content, whatever. Poll question, if you could ask it not about sports, we're really interested. Free t-shirts. Let me call that number.
There's a great story in Seattle when I was negotiating with Major League Baseball to leave Seattle. And the only way Seattle could have kept me is if they gave me one of their day parts. You know, if I got one of their day parts.
Give you a show.
I took a walk with a good friend of mine this guy Bob Stelton, and they had just painted a van with the lineup, and he just looks at the van and goes, "Well, that lineup just got harder to crack."
That's true, because we know how often they paint company vehicles. So if they've just painted the lineup,
So
they ain't putting you in it.
When you said the T-shirt, I just said, "Yep, that's the equivalent of making a van."
Well, we've never been on a van, have we?
Yes.
Wait, we were on
We
a van.
most certainly were. We were on the side of a truck.
Oh, that's
That
right.
box truck in Act 2. Our faces were on a box truck for crying out loud.
Right. That's at the beginning. He loved us.
Yeah.
Billboards and driving a truck down the road with our.
Think about how big these melons were on the side of a truck.
Seth, think about seeing the side of a truck with our two heads on it.
Now it's just that sleep apnea head.
That's right. It's that Florida Blue ad. My wife saw it again the other day. It's freaking her out. She is so angry. All right.
Oh my God.
She wants to sue somebody. She wants royalty. She's convinced it's me. It does look like me. A few years ago.
I know you don't do baseball anymore, but you had to do a few winter meetings. Do you have any good winter meeting stories? Because they're boring now. I mean, they're not the way they
the
used
winter
to be.
meetings are in Nashville. They're at the Opryland Hotel. That is like a biodome.
Yes,
you walk
it
in,
is.
it's
I
like
lived in
your own
Nashville.
city. And I remember in 2002, this will date the whole story, but the Montreal Expos were in contraction mode. And that was the rumor. It was that the Twins and Expos were going to get contracted. And the Expos had Vladimir Guerrero. And the big story going in was, where is Vladimir Guerrero going to wind up? And Omar Minaya, good buddy of mine, was the GM of the Expos. At the time, he was the Pied Piper. The iPhone didn't exist at this point. So everyone is following Omar Minaya everywhere he goes. He went into the men's room. There were 10 reporters standing outside. All I remember of that is the winter meetings was, it was, where is Omar Minaya? Like, it was like a where's Waldo in that biodome. That's one. The other one is Tommy Lasorda called me a communist on a stage. Because I thought the World Baseball Classic, if I was a GM, I would not have pitchers pitch in the World Baseball Classic. I'm stand on record of that. I think it's ridiculous to have it in March. And Tommy Lasorda from the back of a room screamed, "What are you, a communist?"
Well, I mean,
those are my two favorite winter meeting stories.
You know, he could probably get a few people who agree with him.
When A-Rod signed with Texas, another one just came to my head. When A-Rod signed with Texas, these 4 reporters were playing poker in the back of the press conference room. And John Blake, the PR director of the Texas Rangers, goes to announce the A-Rod signing. Those guys didn't stop their game.
Now, you got to admit, that was not internet, but it was pre-social media. You couldn't tweet it out. I mean, there was no immediacy. They're like, well, hell, it's not going to make the morning edition. We've got time.
They're literally going around. You'll call. And they're like, we're here pleased to announce Alex Rodriguez is coming to Texas. And it was so funny because I was sitting in between. So I heard both conversations.
And I'll bet the game was, the poker was much more interesting. By the way, very quickly, because you're not going to have a lot of time to plug what you do for a living. So will you come to Boca for the Boca Raton Bowl, your beloved Syracuse against South Florida?
The irony is my family and I are going 2 days later.
Gotcha. Well, go earlier. Take in the game, 8:00. On December 21st. All right, you got 30 seconds, literally. Sports and Friends Hall of Justice, go.
John Kincaid, Philly radio host, beat colon cancer. It's a really, really fun podcast, and John's a good friend. He's been on before, but this was a good reason to have him on again. Hall of Justice is a gentleman by the name of Rick Cosnett. If you watch the Flash TV show, he played Eddie Thawne. Eddie Thawne had a major role in season 1, and we talk about it.
There you go. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. He's Seth Everett. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett. Seth, all the best to you and the family.
You do as well, and I'll see you Monday.
I will see you Monday.
Oh, Seth taking a little Monday Night Football for that riveting Packers
Tommy
and
DeVito,
Giants.
Syracuse's own.
Oh, for goodness sakes, he wasn't even good there. Now you think he's good in the NFL? It's ridiculous.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How'd you guys meet Seth?
We just had him on as a guest. He was covering baseball, MLB Network. John booked him. We liked each other. He came down to Fort Myers a couple times for spring training. We had him in the studio once or twice. And we just stayed in touch. We've had him on as
we liked him, and he's been a regular for.
Yeah,
he's our longest running regular, I think.
You guys always have
Kerwin,
Pat, and
Gary, Pat, but Seth's third.
You always have pretty good segments with him. And talk about a lot of stuff.
Yes, a lot of people don't like it. They don't like him. They don't like. He's very political. He will start going down politics, and we're like, Seth, we don't do this.
Unless it's Ron DeSantis talking about FSU.
But just right. Unless we're talking about Florida State and hosed. Okay. But
in Seth was very with COVID, he was very much mask up, and when that didn't jive with Florida.
Right. So that was our second act, and we had him on regularly, and he's living. Here was the great thing, though. He looked at Florida from New York, New Jersey, and just thought we were the biggest morons in the world. But because he was living where he was and we were living where we were, we actually had great segments.
Yeah.
Okay. And Seth was also interested in what we were interested with, which was how this was going to affect the sports world, not only at the time, but going forward. But it was amazing. And, you know, the three of us obviously like each other, but it was amazing. We would compare notes on the air. So what's it like there? And Seth's like, well, we can't leave the house. Okay. You know, if we do.
And he had people die. I mean, you know, he's in the heart of
Yes.
it. People
Right.
he knows that have family members that are dying. And,
Right.
and we're living in Florida where
Right.
it's Wild West. I mean, you know, were you still in Michigan during all that?
Yeah.
So Michigan was like New York. It was closed down.
It was strict.
Right. And so it was fascinating, you know, but he was very political. And on that issue, he was very to the left. And, you know, our audience at the time was only in Southwest Florida, which is very much to the right. So there are a lot of people who are like, I don't like Seth anymore. And they're done with Seth. But we bring him on, A, because we like him, B, because he's been good to us, but C, it's our one segment a week where we could talk about anything, that segment. When we have guests on, we're usually putting them on for a reason. Okay. And then when we do our segments, each segment will have a theme, whether it's to talk about sports or talk about, you know, how to attack a panther.
Sure.
But with Seth, honestly, Miller and Moulton have no idea where the segment's going to go.
It's always fun for me to type the description for Seth's segment because I never know what to. I'm just like, all right, well. Do you guys have Pat Kerwin on year round?
Yes.
Once
twice a week during football season, which is all the way through the draft, pretty much. And then once from the draft on, once until August.
I could listen to him talk about NFL football.
Yeah. May, June, and July, we have Pat on once a week. And sometimes he gets mad at us. He's like, how come only once a week? And we're like, well, we're trying to give you a break.
Hey, Adam, I'm curious, what's your thoughts on the new Quilted Northern different perforations of the toilet paper ripping off? Just curious. I don't think that's your brand. But Adam, when we got that toilet paper and it had the new rip and they have a commercial about the new rip, I thought of you.
Adam, is that a compliment that he got toilet paper and he thought of you?
He sells toilet paper for a
I
living.
understand, but think about what it is we're talking about.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bud Elliott to join us in a little more than 15 minutes. I have no idea what we're going to talk about with Bud. None whatsoever. Okay, something actually that we only brought up one time that we will bring up with Bud is the NCAA yesterday for the very first time. Their president, Charlie Baker, he said, you know what? I think we need to change the approach. And do you know who should be paying the athletes? The schools directly. Whoa! We've never heard that before. Yep, they should be the ones creating the NILs, raising the money, budgeting it out. Let them deal with it. And oh, by the way, all those schools that sign up for what I'm proposing, you guys have your own subdivision. The other D1 schools, you know, the mid-size, those that don't play football, small conferences, you guys want to keep on doing what we're doing? Great.
The one thing he does point out in his report is just the difference in budgets of Division I programs.
Right.
That Division I athletic budgets go from a $5 million budget to a $250 million budget, and yet they're all playing under the same umbrella. It does seem preposterous.
Yeah, I mean, hell, even the Rays and the Marlins are more competitive in payroll than, you know, D1 schools who don't play football are. But I find the part, not the schools paying them directly, because, well, under the table, hell, they've done that forever. But now it would just be above board. And, you know, I think it'd be great to actually find out, oh, man, because then you could have fans yelling at Joe Milton in Tennessee, we're paying you $1.5 million. You can't hit the broadside of a barn. But I just love the fact that They are literally saying to those that are going to sign up for what we're proposing, you get to create now the rules on recruiting, transfers, roster sizes. Basically, Charlie Baker said, do whatever the hell you want.
You mean what they're already doing?
Well, no, the NCAA is actually setting.
I know, but
or kind of, they're trying. The whole scholarships, roster sizes. They are the ones that are very moody about transfers.
Just when it's a second transfer.
Very much so when it's a second transfer. There's just no consistency with that at all. So, I don't know, probably come up with Bud.
So we got this text that during Seth's interview there, and I think I was the one that said we said the ACC is irrelevant. That was said. And he says, does college basketball mean nothing to you guys? I hate conference realignment. No, we like college basketball.
College basketball just doesn't have the pull, obviously, because if it did, the Big East never would have broke. Like, there'd be so many.
College basketball hasn't been relevant.
Well, it's just different.
In 30 plus years.
College basketball, even if it makes all this money, isn't going to move the needle like football. That's the world we live in.
All right, Mark, I need you to defend that. What do you mean it hasn't been relevant for
From a television product, the numbers outside of March don't show up. We're not watching college basketball the way we once did. The glory days of college basketball have long passed us.
Well, I think you're saying too, relative to football, it's irrelevant.
Yes.
It's not irrelevant in a holistic sense. In the Final Four last year, the ratings were down.
March is separate. That's a whole different animal. The tournament is a monster. Nothing from November before that really, it doesn't rate. I mean, when the Michigan State-Arizona basketball game after the first football game on Thanksgiving, that did a really big number. People were stunned at the number that did. Yeah. The lead-in was pretty damn good.
Yeah, it really was.
So if they could figure out a way to play all of their games right after an NFL game on a network, they'll continue to draw ratings. Otherwise, it doesn't rate.
Here's what I would say to the college basketball fan. I was thinking about this last night, could be wrong. I feel that what just happened with college football is what happened with college basketball, and it helped lead to its demise in terms of how big it used to be to how big it is now. What has college basketball been obsessed with and only with for a generation now?
Tournament.
The tournament. Correct. What did college football just do? College football made the biggest, most controversial decision that it's made, thinking about their tournament only, not their regular season, not even their conference championship games, which equates to the basketball conference tournaments. They made their decision thinking forward, not about the present or the past. I think that's a dangerous decision to make because that's what happened to college basketball. And now most sports fans only care about 3 weeks in March. And that is what I would be worried about with college football. So you're telling me it's only about what will be a 12-team playoff, no doubt, more teams. In theory, it should work out for the better. But it does concern me, Mark, that they made their decision based on the playoff in their estimation only, not the season. They had never done that before. That was a very college basketball decision that college football made, in my opinion.
What, to me, will be interesting going forward with football is not the argument between 12 and 13, but do we during the season, because of these new conferences, end up with far more great college football weekends? I felt like this year, David, we did not get a lot of great college football weekends. I thought there were 2 or 3 great college football weekends. The rest, you were struggling to find the game that you had to watch. I'm hoping with Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC, with the schools going to the Big Ten, that on a week in, week out basis, we have more relevant games.
I'm wondering, will it be better or worse that we're only going to have Coke and Pepsi? I mean, it's going to be hard going forward for the Big 12, and when the ACC blows up the ACC, and obviously the Pac-12 is no more. I'm curious if it's only Coke and Pepsi. Is that going to matter at all? Will that make it better or will it make it worse? I mean, let's face it. Missouri, Ole Miss, Penn State, even though they have a name and a legacy, but it was obvious they couldn't beat the big boys, even though they're supposed to be one. I mean, do we really have an interest going forward? And those teams were ranked between 9 and 12. Do we really have an interest in seeing Missouri, Ole Miss, a Penn State team that's not elite? Are we going to watch those games? I don't know. I don't know.
Or do you think possibly that those 5, 12, 8, 9 games they'll get numbers, but it won't be until the next round when people will find interest because the big boys are back playing?
Well, I'm not even thinking about the tournament. No, because we'll watch the playoff. Why? Because the game has ramifications. You lose, you're out. We love that. I'm thinking about the season, if you know what I mean. I mean, are we really? Remember, we're dicing up Coke and Pepsi here, and you're the third best team in the SEC this year. Although Texas will be in it next year, but you know what I'm getting at. So that I'm just curious how this goes. Everybody is assuming this is going to be a big success. The sport's going to get even more popular. I'm a little worried, and I'm not usually a worrier.
Miller and Moulton. We shall see, because the tournament, as you're right, will have all kinds of success. But what will it do to the regular season? How much will it affect the popularity of the college football regular season? Bud Elliott is next. Thanks for listening right here, Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh no, go blue. The college football playoff will do really well. Really well. Be curious going forward. It could work out great where it's okay, we've just got the two AFC, NFC. Maybe that's how we'll look at Big Ten, SEC. No, it's like AFC, NFC. And no, we're not trying to get a Coke or Pepsi sponsorship, but that was cute.
We'll take it.
And Minty, do they stand a chance? Well, yeah, they're a talented team, well coached. They stand a chance. The thing about Cincy and Buffalo, though, is their tiebreakers scenarios are bad. Like, they're not going to win a tiebreaker with anybody. So they've got to be like, I think both those teams have to get to 10 and hope there's only 7 teams at 10. Because if there's 8, they're going to be out.
RCB, if basketball does that, I will stop watching.
They're
What
good.
is that? The
shrink the
no. Well, please. There's the Sankey wants it to be 96 teams. I mean, there's no chance of it getting smaller. No chance.
The only problem I have with the NCAA tournament, literally the only problem, is that the conference champions, like the conference tournament champions, they shouldn't have to play in the first 4. Because every year they put the 16s against each other in the first 4.
You don't like the 16s in the first 4?
I don't like if you won your conference tournament, you shouldn't have to play in. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I think the bubble teams like your Indiana from last year or 2 years ago, they should be the ones that have to play their way in.
Okay, so you want 8 mid-major to big boy at-larges playing in the play-in, not the 16s.
I just think it's hypocrisy if you win your conference tournament, you're in. You should be in. You don't have to.
I will say the 16s
think
think of it as a tournament win. That's the only difference.
Well, yeah.
FGCU looks at it as a tournament win.
And I understand why they do it the way they do it. I just think it's a shame because you do all that work to win your conference tournament.
Hey, bud.
What's going on, guys?
Look at that. He listens to Mom Moulton. Everybody listens to Mom Moulton.
Hair, you know?
But I got to tell you, before we get started, I absolutely loved your tweet that was like very clearly sarcastic, but no one was getting it when your 12-team playoff.
Thank you.
That was hilarious. The replies in that were just, I was like, you people are so stupid.
It also was a good like net to where like if somebody tweeted at me multiple times about this in like a serious manner, I was like, okay, this is a good person to mute for the future, just to keep the timeline kind of curated, right?
Weed them out. Everyone was like, "Is this a scheduled tweet? What are you talking about?"
Hey, and Bud, I tweeted at you about this, and you didn't answer, which I don't care about. Right. But whatever you did a couple months ago, what you have a Michigan State fans really are off the rails, huh? It was a Michigan State, Florida State, or something. It was something about the playoff, or I don't know what it was, but I just laughed because you tweeted out after. It's like Michigan State fans. I didn't realize that they were that brutal.
Oh, they were mad. They were really mad that I was like, they think that they were the best team in 2013.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I was like, every starter on that, literally all 22 got drafted. I don't think, but I mean, hey. You know, like that's college football. We can always debate, right?
Yes, we can. And it's never been more relevant than this week.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was at Total Wine. We have a Christmas party every year where we only invite people who have kids. Just kind of, it's like the anti-Christmas party. We got to get babysitters for your kids and all that. And so we invite families. So I was picking up wine and stuff at Total Wine and going through the bourbon thing, and I grabbed a bottle of Walcott bourbon, 95 points. It was $45, $50. I'm like, I don't have this one. And I just grabbed it. It was bottled in bond. I'm like, all right, the old school style. I go to pour myself one 2 nights ago. I took a sip and it nearly tore my rib. Then I looked at it, 120 proof. I went,
okay.
Oh, okay. Let's let the ice hit this just a little bit before we start getting into it.
Jet fuel. Okay, here we go.
That'll wake you up.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the bonus hour. the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Our final segment of the day along the network on a hump day, that means Bud Elliott. He of 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports. He's got the Cover 3 podcast. He's got Nolecast. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Bud Elliott, the number 3. Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. So, anything going on?
Yeah, been a pretty slow week with transfer portal, and the committee selection process went smooth, of course. And yeah, just it's pretty chill.
Okay, if we could just go back, quickly. So Sunday morning, you woke up. Like Mark said last week when we did the segment, I thought there was less than a 5% chance. Mark thought it was at least 20% that a 13-0 Florida State would be left out. When you woke up Sunday morning, what did you think the chance was they'd be left out?
Chance of left out, probably 20-ish, I would say.
Roughly. So you still thought when the selection committee show was going on that Florida State was going to be in the playoff?
Yeah, I thought there was a pretty decent chance, just because they always kind of do the lip service thing to picking the best teams, but they had always picked the teams that had the best resume and the most deserving. So FSU fit that, and then they're like, all right, switch it up.
And did they ever?
Yeah.
We all had already been on record saying we were taking Florida State, so there's no need to really revisit that. But does this completely end the ACC? I mean, was this the final nail in the coffin of the ACC that we're going to look at the end of college basketball season and this conference is blowing up, bud?
Probably so. I don't think this changes Florida State's intent. I think FSU has been extremely clear that they want to get out of the league and for, at least a year. This might change the process and the timeline for a few of the other schools as far as how seriously they take it, right? Like, because I think it has to be a bit of a warning shot. Hey guys, if they'll do that to that school, think about what they'll do to you coming out of this league. Because like FSU is probably the most respected football program in that league, with all due respect, to Clemson, obviously, which has been really good lately. So yeah, I think it probably will crush the ACC in the long term. It'll be pointed to as the sort of the death knell of the ACC. However, I think the wheels were already in motion for some of the schools.
But I mean, you make your living on college football. Did the committee's choice hurt the sport going forward, or is it just a 24, 48-hour news cycle thing? Because, somebody wrote a column yesterday that said, yeah, let's cut to the chase. This $150 million decision in ESPN's favor, having Alabama in, playing potentially 2 games as opposed to having Florida State in. I mean, basically, was this corrupt?
I think it was somewhat corrupt, but it really, to me, it more is it's breaking the fourth wall, right? It's too much of just naked business, I think. Whereas you probably couldn't get away with it, I think, if Jordan Travis was playing. Like, I really don't think that they would have done that, because that would just be way too obvious.
Which, by the way, then, who do you think they leave out, Texas or Bama? Because, I mean, they have said we left them out because their quarterback got hurt. So we have to assume they would have kept them in if Travis was healthy. At the end, though, do we really think they're leaving Bama out?
See, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't know that they would, because I think they had to get an SEC team in because of ESPN's new investment in the SEC. That's my opinion. I don't really know how we could prove or disprove a hypothetical, but
true.
That is what I think would happen. But I think that the increasing this is an obvious business element of college football probably will turn off some fans, some, not all. Now the other way they got away with this is that this is the last team last year of the 4-team playoff, right? So it's not precedent setting, because you're going to have a new committee with a new format next year. And so they're not going to be like, hey, look, you did this FSU last year, you do it to this, this team this year. It's going to be different, because they know it'll be different. So I don't think it kills the sport. That's probably over the top. But I do think for some folks, wrestling broke the fourth wall pretty aggressively. And some people were turned off by that. Like, they still wanted the mystique of, whatever that was, right? I think for college football fans, some of the innocence and amateurism and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of broken a little bit when you're making decisions that are just strictly business and are so obviously business.
Well, and pushing it forward, Bud, to me, where this becomes relevant and why I asked the first question that I did is that I look at this at the 12-team playoff and look at the loser of the ACC championship, the loser of the Big 12 championship has been told more than likely they're not going to be invited to this 12-team playoff.
So I actually think that they will be invited for
Really?
the first couple years. And then I think we will probably at 11-2, right? If you're an 11-2 loser of the ACC championship or Big 12, yeah, I think you probably do get in. ACC more than Big 12, but I think what it will probably lead to is you're going to see a really aggressive approach for some sort of like RPI measure from the SEC and the Big 10, because they're going to want to have some kind of formula that guarantees they get a lot of teams in that is heavily influenced by strength of schedule, right? Something a little more comprehensive than just strength of schedule or strength of record. And that's how I think that they keep out a Louisville type team, that largely got to the ACC title game because they had a very easy schedule for the most part, although it was harder in the actual season than it was projected in the preseason. I think you're going to see, I don't think we're going to have as many SEC Big 10 teams in as people fear in the first year or two. And then they're going to find a way to add a formula in that emphasizes strength of schedule extra to make sure they do get them in.
He's Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Cover 3 podcasts, Nolecast. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Bud Elliott, the number 3. All right, your thoughts on what Charlie Baker had to say yesterday? That, you know what? We should be paying the athletes directly ourselves, setting up the NIL ourselves, budgeting it ourselves, and those schools that go this route, you're going to have your own subdivision. You're going to make up the rules for recruiting, transfers, roster sizes. You don't have to worry about the NCAA and whether or not we're going to approve a guy's transfer or not. You guys can figure that out yourselves. Your thoughts on what he proposed yesterday?
So I think it's a smart proposal on their part. I'm not sure it will be enough, but the NCAA eventually has to get tired of the courts setting the rules for them, right? Which is what happens when you don't do anything, which for a long time, they have been essentially silent on this issue. So it also sort of tells schools, hey, you can either be in or out with respect to this. I don't think this is going to be the final version of this plan. I don't really think that schools, as business-minded as they are, have any interest in paying equal money for the non-revenue sports as they do the revenue sports, which this plan would still have to comply with Title IX. But it's an interesting first step. I also think it's something that Baker, he's a politician. So somebody or former lobbyist, excuse me, I believe.
No, I think he was governor of.
Oh, there you go. Right.
Yeah, he was a governor
of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So because you realize like your plan is not going to get through Congress, the one that they were trying to get Congress to pass, that's not going to happen. Yeah. Shocking, right? This at least allows you to present something to your constituents and say, hey, this is something we're looking at. It's sort of a first step model, and they'll get a lot of feedback on this, I'm sure. So sometimes there's pressure in a job to just do something, right? To justify your existence. And so far, I'm not really sure Charlie Baker's term as NCAA president has gone all that well. So putting this out there makes it look like he's doing something.
How long do you see before a breakaway like this happening? I mean, we've talked about this for a long time, Bud. Would the big boys take their ball and skip the Big Ten, skip the SEC, and you're going to have X number of teams that form their own league? Do you still see a breakaway like this happening?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get to like 2030 with the same alignment, but I don't know that I can predict with any precision if it's going to be 2 years or 4 years or 6 or, I think it'll be before 2030 if I had to guess at it, because some of these court cases are just going to get done, right? And one of them will likely pop and say, hey, these guys are employees. And at that point, certain schools that are in the FBS are going to say, yeah, we're not really into that, right? We're going to have club sports at our school.
First off, how do you keep up with the transfer portal? I mean, 2 years ago when this really started to go like this, and you in 24/7, one of the first to have a daily transfer portal, which we found as a member of the media, it was awesome. It really helped us do our jobs. But I'm serious when I say, how do you keep up with it? And secondly, your thoughts on the quarterbacks. Is this PT or is this about cash?
So first, I think if you follow 24/7 Sports Transfer Portal, Matt Zenitz and Chris Hummer, you're going to get most of the stuff you need because they're not tweeting out every single kid who jumps in the portal. And like for me, luckily, I don't work for a team, so I don't have to like immediately decide offer or no offer on all these kids who jump in. Now, most of these schools have a team of guys and they're working well ahead, right? They're grading a decent number of kids per roster of every team out there and say, okay, if he jumped in, interest, no interest, maybe it's worth a phone call, or like, hey, that's an immediate offer type kid we need to go after. The quarterbacks are interesting. So with Dylan Gabriel, somebody told me in September that Oklahoma was going to tell him, hey, you either need to go pro or transfer. Like, we're not going to carry this because there's NIL component. It's basically managing managing a budget. They have a 5-star stud, Dylan Gabriel, who they're really happy about waiting in the wings. And he got some playing time this year, and they think he's developing nicely. Gabriel and Jackson Arnold, the 5-star, would be way too much money to keep on the roster at the same time, especially if you think Jackson Arnold's going to be ready. So I think if you're Gabriel, it's like, I'm not really an NFL guy because I don't have a very good arm, but I am very valuable in college. I can probably get, maybe $1 million, maybe slightly over $1 million to go to like an Oregon. And that's where I think at this point he'll probably go. The same thing I think is happening with Kansas State, right? So you lose Howard, who transferred out, and people are like, what the heck? It's like, guys, they have Avery Johnson. He's like the best quarterback recruit they've ever signed at Kansas State. He played really well for them down the stretch. It doesn't make sense to spend like 40% of your NIL money on the quarterback position between two guys. You can only play one at a time.
It's crazy because you just basically described an in-house salary cap.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you just described was a salary cap for it, that their own NIL salary cap is basically on there. And I was thinking about, these coaches that are interviewing for jobs. Is the first question, what are you going to pay me? Or is the first question, what's my NIL budget?
I think it's they're asked pretty close together, right? A lot of the NIL stuff is really important. It's also, of course, what can you pay my assistants? How many analysts can I have? What can I pay them? That type of thing. But no, the NIL budget's important because like these players increasingly realize their value.
Would the Ohio State quarterback be transferring if they had beat Michigan? I mean, is that a case of they've got somebody waiting in the wings? Because it was pretty telling. Ryan Day did not endorse him as even the quarterback for the bowl game.
I think if you're Ryan Day, you had to be incredibly frustrated by McCord's play. Like you did scheme some guys open against Michigan that he either didn't see or just couldn't hit. And the same thing against Penn State. So, look, misses happen in recruiting, right? Kyle McCord, especially McCord, was in that COVID class, a class that teams couldn't get out on the road and see players. We couldn't get out on the road and see players very much because there weren't many events, especially in certain parts of the country. I do think Ohio State likely has somebody lined up. There's a ton of Cam Ward smoke there, the Washington State kid. Ward is widely considered the best one in the portal, like by probably $500,000 clear of anybody else from the numbers I've heard. I know it's nuts.
That's just
if we could flip this and go back 2 years ago and be like, here's our conversation happening in 2 years. Like, no way.
And all three of us are in favor of these guys getting paid, but this truly is like we saw it happen in baseball and football. Once we had free agency, it just went boing.
It did. So Matt Rule made the comment that like to get a good quarterback, it's $1.5 million to $2 million. And I texted a guy who I know works in the collective space, and he was like, "Yeah, maybe to go play at Nebraska, but most of these kids are going to get nowhere close to $1.5 million or $2 million."
What are they getting though? What are these quarterbacks? What's a quarterback getting that's transferring right now?
All right, so I think Cam Ward will get over $1.5 million. Maybe a guy or two will get like 1-1. Most of your quarterbacks who are like, okay, that guy can help us win at least one extra game, are probably getting somewhere between like $350 and $750. The numbers aren't quite as big as you think. Now, late in the game, when everybody realizes, oh, it's the last guy left, that guy may get run up from like 400 to like 900 or something. Then you hear, crazy bidding war type stuff.
He's Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Cover 3 Podcast, Noltcast. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Bud Elliott, the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. Bud, all the best. Thanks for what you contribute to this show. Hopefully we can talk again before the semis.
Definitely will. And signing day coming up.
Oh, that's right. Bowl games and signing days at the same time. Who created that schedule?
This calendar.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
$101.
Golly.
Why not, Barry? Why don't they deserve that kind of money? Who deserves it with the money that's being made in the sport? The University of Florida? We live in a free market. Why don't they deserve it, but you do? I mean, I don't get it. You can make as much as you want in your profession. Why can't they?
I mean, Tim Tebow, think about it. If we had a Tebow today, he should play for the college degree. That's what he's earning, which, granted, is a fortune, but I mean, I thought 15 years ago he should have gotten a cut of the jersey sales. I mean, they weren't buying a 15 jersey, for any other reason that it was Tebow. Bearman, the SEC would never agree to a cap. There is no way the SEC would ever impose a cap.
Time has been doing its Person of the Year since 1927. Taylor Swift is the first musician to ever win it.
No musician has ever won that?
The Time Person of the Year.
Wow.
Well,
interesting.
Make the case for one. Now, I'm a little surprised they didn't give it to the Beatles.
John Lennon was going to be my answer, yeah.
The Beatles in 64, I'm a little surprised didn't win it.
Elvis in the 50, whatever year, 50, whatever.
Yeah, Elvis in the late 50s.
Michael Jackson at some point.
Boy, Jackson in 84.
Yeah, I mean,
Prince?
No.
Controversial.
No, not that he. Someone that almost became more popular not after they died, but
he's immortalized.
It was the one thing I remember when Michael started turning cuckoo that Eddie Murphy in his one stand-up goes, well, we all know who won that argument. Or not Chris Rock was
right.
Well, we all know who won that one. It's like
right.
What has an athlete ever won it?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you who, but I know athletes have won it.
Okay. But probably like soccer.
They've had some very controversial.
I don't know.
Because
64% have been, this is Darren Ravel's tweet, 64% have been politicians.
And they've had some controversial ones because they don't necessarily giving it in a
good way.
Like I believe Hitler was Man of the Year one year. I'm almost positive Putin was one year. They almost always make, if there's an election and we get a new president, they almost always make whoever wins the election the Man of the Year. Almost always.
A&M hired the Kansas State OC.
Yep. Penn State hired the Kansas OC. Well, and Bourbon, there are some people.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us as we get over the hump together. Hope your week is going well. We found out some sad news right as the network portion of our show from 6 to 9 was ending. Norman Lear has passed away. I guess he did so last night on the West Coast, but Norman Lear has passed away at 101. And we have a poll question today as to, which AFC team you think is going to go to the Super Bowl? Did you like that voice? Was that very...
That's good. That was good.
The Ravens, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, or somebody else? How about this poll question? Norman Lear's best show. Oh, wow. All in the Family, Maude, Sanford and Son, One Day at a Time, The Jeffersons, Good Times. I think All in the Family would win, but that's a pretty good resume.
It really is. It really is. What he tackled
just
in the 70s.
Right. Talk about fearless.
And we still haven't figured it out now.
We're not even tackling it now.
Right. We've avoided it. He was tackling these issues in the 70s.
Oh, man.
Remarkable.
And
absolutely remarkable.
And doing it in a comedic way. Kind of like the fearless comedians of that time. Why is it that Carlin and Pryor and others from that era? I mean, they just
Well, it's why you got to give up to Chappelle now, who is not quit being him.
yes.
While all other comedians, not all other, but you know what I mean. They're in the PC world that we live in. Chappelle's like, I don't give a damn. I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do. Don't like it? Oh, well.
You know how we do our favorite, our underrated, and it could be even great. Like I'm convinced Gary Player is the most underrated, greatest golfer of all time, or great golfer of all time, I should say. Man, Sanford and Son. Golly, I love that show.
Some of the clips from that show that I go down some TikTok holes every once in a while. And some of the clips that come on when you start getting into some of the things, when Fred Sanford goes into the courtroom, the words that he says on television, you can't say anymore.
No, in the mid-'70s, that show ran for 5 years.
Right.
Come here, dummy. And to think that was the cleanest that Red Fox ever was. I mean, there were those of us who then became Red Fox fans, and we found out about his stand-up routine, and it was like, oh, snap.
Right, when Eddie Murphy said that guy had a dirty mouth. You went, what?
Right. But so Norman Lear's passed away at 101. I believe that's what we call a good run, right?
That is a good run. That's a great run.
My goodness, to think when my grandma passed away at 95, and we talked about this often, even while she was alive and what have you, but it's those of that generation to think what it is that they experienced. I mean, he was born in 1922. I mean, he's 7 when the Depression begins. Never mind, he's, 19 when he can sign up to go to war. And we all know everything else that's transpired. But I mean, he's old enough. You're old enough my grandma, I think, was 5 when the Depression started. And to think where we are now, I mean, you're born in those days. There's a good chance you didn't have indoor plumbing. You had to go into the backyard and dig a hole. By the way, funny line in the Twitch chat. Norman Lear, now he deserves NIL money. That's good.
Trust me, he got it.
Yes.
He got it. And then some. But Norman Lear passed away at the age of 101.
I'll be damned. And yeah, a lot of those great shows were all spin-offs from All in the Family. It's probably why All in the Family would have to win. But liked One Day at a Time. Let's face it, I mean, those of us of a certain era, Valerie Bertinelli was cute.
Yes, she was. As a matter of fact, she was. Now she's doing cooking shows on the Food Network.
Yes, she is. And all of a sudden, she was like, the girl you want to take to prom. And it was like, wait, she's marrying Eddie Van Halen? And her older sister is addicted to drugs? What? This is a wholesome show. Oh, well. Those were the days. The innocence.
Innocence, huh?
Yeah, well, it was pre-Entertainment Tonight, pre-TMZ. We
Okay,
didn't know
you
anything.
know what? I got you now.
We didn't know a damn thing. And all of a sudden, it was like, wait, what?
There's no way that's true. It's in the National Enquirer. That's not that can't be
Come
possible.
on.
They're making that up.
We don't even allow that to be sold at the grocery store. It's so terrible. Come on. So anyway, got our attention. Big fan of sitcoms from a certain day and age, our Miller and Moulton. So that kind of stopped us in our tracks here.
Back to sports.
Whatever.
I'm with you.
Got to admit, it's tough on this. So what's going to compete with Norman Lear? I don't know. I think it's the lead, honey. I really do. I don't know if we can do better than that. But you know what I am finding interesting? There are who out there is jonesing for, kind of missing my Tuesday, Wednesday action. When can we start these bowls? When do they start again? I get the feeling people are, conference championship weekend, big weekend, a lot of eyeballs. By the way, ratings came in for the SEC title game.
Did pretty well, David.
It really did, Mark. In fact, second highest rated one ever. Yep. Only unbeaten Alabama and unbeaten Florida in 2009. Gators trying to defend their national title. Nick and company would ultimately win and win there first. But that's the only one, 19 million. So, this Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, people seem interested in them.
Yeah, it really sounds like they could have just put those 4 teams in the Final Four and everybody would have been okay with it.
Well, certainly ESPN would have. Fox would have been like, hey, hold on. You don't get to broadcast them.
They had the perfect chance to do that in last year's playoff. Remember that? When they were maybe going to put Bearman at the 4 and give TCU the boot? That would have been insane. Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan.
Well, but Bama had to get – if Bama had beat LSU and got to the SEC title game, all right, the problem would have been, though, the only way Bama could have got in was as the 4, and then they're playing Georgia again. So –
it wasn't really that close to happening, of course. I just remember it was a discussion, and then they interviewed Nick Saban.
Yeah.
He was in a closet somewhere.
He was in his closet talking about Las Vegas odds.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a state where you can't gamble.
And he made a lot of good points.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looked like he was being held hostage while he was doing it at halftime of the Big Ten championship game. It's like, is that really Nick Saban? Man, he looks awful. Yeah. So, well, they tried to get Michigan in the title game. And don't you think that's the committee saying to Michigan this year, hey, man, we gave you TCU last year, all right? Suck it up and deal.
Don't know what to tell you.
Yep.
You couldn't beat TCU without their signs. Now you got to beat Alabama without their signs. So good luck to you.
Yep. Listen, the first year we gave you Georgia. That's a tough draw. Okay. Second year, gave you TCU, man. We gave you TCU. So this one's on you. I still think it's the best thing for Michigan. I really do.
I think you're right. If they were able to win both games, I do think that will take the majority of the sting away from the sign stealing. People will still bring it up. They'll always bring it up because that's what they do. But if they go and beat Ohio State and then obviously Iowa, but Ohio State, Alabama, and whomever.
Hey, listen, I've been really harsh on Michigan. I think it was clearly cheating. Don't call it anything else. No, they cheated. They cheated. And if I was Tony Petitti, I would have made him ineligible for the Big Ten tournament. Now, I didn't have the authority to make him ineligible from college football playoff. But even after beating Ohio, remember, I said before they played Penn State, no. They can win these games. I don't care. They ain't going. We'll put in Ohio State or Penn State. I don't care. All right. But now they beat in their last 3 games. Ohio State, Alabama, whoever. Okay. Every Michigan fan in the country that has taken grief from anybody could look them right in the eye and go, did we cheat to beat Ohio State, Alabama, and Texas? Yes or no? Did we? Did we? Okay. No. Over. It's over. Okay. We're the national champs. We earned it. Yeah, we cheated. We have. Okay. Harbaugh paid a price. You think we should have paid more of a price? Fine. All I know is we beat Ohio State, Alabama, and Texas. Boom, boom, boom. All right? We're the champs. Shut up and deal.
What happens when the NCAA investigation finally concludes sometime in the next 3 years and they try to take that title away from Michigan?
Ah, hell. Did you see what the president of the NCAA proposed yesterday? He proposed you setting up your own slush fund and forming your own subdivision. Do you really listen, if you think Kansas got off light from the 5-year basketball investigation, by the time they finish the football investigation, they may reimburse Michigan's legal fees. Hey, we're really sorry that we inconvenienced you back in 2023, man. I feel badly. In fact, we think the Big Ten, they were out of line. We're very sorry. And while you're at it, take the damn Final Four banners and put them up. What are you doing? Got them in a closet somewhere. Weber and company. They're the Fab Five, for goodness sakes. Put them up in the rafters.
No team in history has been celebrated more for doing nothing.
Oh wow! Look, who's
that was some angst.
who was the guy in the documentary who said it was the former player who said that too?
Well, it had to be a Duke player.
Yeah, it might very well have been. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mishko Blue, do you believe he acted alone? I'm just curious. Do you believe that he acted alone? Yes or no?
I don't know how. That's
No. We know how you feel. Okay.
Wow.
You felt he acted. Okay.
Wow, that's
No offense, Go Blue. I don't want to. I can't talk to you about this subject anymore.
That's a tough one to buy, Go Blue. For the rest of us,
it's impossible for me to buy. Not because the shirt I have on.
It defies logic. It defies if you know how college football programs are run and how.
Will they be able to prove it? I doubt it.
Did they set it up where he has plausible deniability? Absolutely. But did he not know about it?
Did Gotti order those hits, or did his underlings order those hits?
Right.
That's all.
There's no doubt the system was set up so that he's got plausible deniability, but the system was set up, and who do you think?
Like the mafia.
Right.
Organized.
I don't know. It would be stunning, actually, that one rogue person that far down the food chain could do something like that and not set off alarms throughout the rest of the organization, so to speak. But if they win their next 2 games, it's not going to matter. It's not. They will have earned it on the field. That's why, Go Blue. I'm telling you, yeah, it's a tougher draw, but they did Michigan a huge favor. So is it down to a point? Opened at 2.5. It's down to a point. Michigan, Bama.
I know what you're. I'm not using score anymore with this. I'm actually going to Hard Rock. When you ask for odds, I'm actually getting real odds.
Look at you.
There's no sense of getting fake odds when they're all right here.
Adam, I think this team can. I do. This is the best team they've had since '97. They're
1.5.
really
I
good.
got it at right now.
1.5. Okay, they're really good. They're very deep.
Here we go.
They might be the best team at the line of scrimmage in the country.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thank you very much. Thanks to Todd and Jason for continuing to support us and the show. And this bonus hour is just for you in Southwest Florida, although we know some of you are listening on an app or, watching via Twitch, and you're taking it in elsewhere. But the majority is in the 239, and we, appreciate it.
It's for everybody, though, David. We do not want to be, we'll focus a little more 239.
Right.
We even do the occasional local interview during this hour.
Right.
But it's for everyone. We're all inclusive in this show.
Yes, we are, Mark. In fact, to some of our listeners, we talk about a few things that maybe they wish we wouldn't talk about. It's like, hey, can you go back to the meat and potatoes? What the heck is that subject? Not interested.
There's no doubt that comes every once in a while.
Yep. So I love the fact that the Jags aren't even willing to rule out Trevor Lawrence for Sunday. Everybody else has a high ankle sprain. It's a month. Hell, in some cases, they go and have surgery. Jags are like, I don't know, he may still play Sunday. Okay.
And then there are those that are still ticked off that he didn't get a cart. I mean, I've seen more stories that he had to walk all the way to the locker room.
He didn't want a cart.
Thank
Trust me,
you.
if Trevor Lawrence wanted a cart,
They'd get him a cart.
they'd be like, is there a certain color you want? Do you want a horn? Would you like a pizza with that? I mean, he'd get a cart. So that was a tough loss, though. They lost their number 2 wide receiver. They lost the number 2 left tackle who had moved over because their number 1 left tackle's hurt again. I mean, we may look back. This AFC South might be in play. I mean, if they go lose in Cleveland, that's 8-5. And then don't they go to Baltimore?
Right, and the Texans play the Jets this week.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think Houston's going to get to 8-5. They split with the Texans. But, I mean, this AFC South now is in play.
How many games does Trevor miss?
2. And they will lose them both. And so he will come back a week early.
It's safe to say that the Titans will be favored in every game they play the rest of the way. Maybe the final game at Indianapolis, that they'll be more like a pick'em.
All right, let's do the schedule game very quickly.
I love it. At the Jets this week, they're a 5.5-point favorite.
Yeah, they should win.
At the Titans, they'll be a slight favorite in that game.
Yeah, division game on the road. Things can happen, but yeah.
Home for the Browns.
Not going to be easy.
Home for the Titans. And that's the tough part. They've got the Titans 2 times in 3 weeks. That's difficult.
It is. Can they sweep them? That's the thing. Or do you think, Tennessee will get them once? Listen, that Cleveland game could be a playing game for both. Okay? I mean, that could be winner's a wild card, loser's going to end up losing a tiebreaker.
By the way, Patriots-Steelers has moved to 29.5 for the over-under.
Unbelievable.
It is only a point better than Jags-Browns. That's at 30.5.
Well, it's been a big year for the under in the NFL. That's why last week's primetime games, I mean, they all went over. That bucked every trend of the year. But, man, I mean, that Patriots stat, I mean, we give out some stats on this show, and very rarely does Mark say something that I go, wow, and vice versa. But I had that stat on Monday that the Patriots have held their last 3 opponents to 10 or less and have lost all 3 games. And the last time that happened in the NFL was 1938. I mean, 85 years. How bad's the offense? Well, it hasn't been done since FDR's second term. How about that?
How bad is general manager Bill Belichick? I'm not kidding here. How damn, because he obviously can still coach.
Yeah, because they're almost winning these games with the worst roster in the league.
Is it worse than Carolina's roster?
Ooh, that's true. It could just be the 31st roster in the league. Boy, it's close.
Carolina's got some players on defense.
Yeah, but I don't know how many of them are healthy these days. That's close. Flip of a coin.
I mean, I will say Thielen's better than any receiver that the Patriots have.
Yeah, and he's like 31, right?
I know.
And he's old. Yeah. Now I take the Patriots running backs. I would.
Okay.
I'm Bailey Zappi or Bryce Young. I mean, whew. But anyway,
Bryce Young every damn time, and you know you would.
Yes, I would. I would. Wow, this is really bad. Come to think of it, this is the Patriots defense though. They're just, woof. Boy, if they played Carolina at New England, you'd have networks begging Amazon. Could you guys take this game, please? No, we don't want it. Might have announcers saying, hey, can I have the week off? Do I really have to do that game?
Don't you have to watch Thursday Night Football just for Al in this game?
Yes. Well, listen, I have not been told anything. I joked about it at a production meeting because it looked like we were going to do December 18th, Kansas City at New England. And the reasons were, Mahomes and the Chiefs, kind of a nice ratings draw. Never mind that whole, if Taylor Swift shows up at the game, that's $3 to $5 million right there.
Yeah, quick sidebar, Taylor Swift just named Time's Person of the Year. First time ever since 1927 that a musician has been given that award by Time Magazine. or that distinction, I guess.
I don't have a problem with her winning it. I have to admit it's a bad look for her. She's going to get criticized that she's the first. I think people are going to be like, wait a minute, we didn't give it to Elvis. We didn't give it to the Beatles. We didn't give it to Michael Jackson. Now remember, this is Michael Jackson,
before we knew who.
Right. I mean,
And regardless, time has not done it because of good or bad. It's the person of the year.
Right. I mean, Bill Cosby was America's dad too. I mean, sometimes we don't know certain information. But anyway, and then Robert Kraft, this just in, he's kind of a big deal in the NFL. And when I mean kind of a big deal, I mean, I am willing to bet that ABC, ESPN did not move off of Chiefs Patriots without getting the okay from Robert Kraft. Okay. That Robert, there are two owners who get phone calls about 70% of the stuff that's on Rodgers' desk. The guy in Foxborough and the guy in Dallas. They get they still call the Rooneys and the Maras occasionally and what have you. But the two guys who are pretty aware of what's on Rodgers' daily schedule are Bob and Jera. So, and when we got word that we were moving off of the game, I literally said, well, hell, even Kraft doesn't want this team in prime time. My goodness. Well, because think about it.
He does.
I mean, I feel badly for Al and Kirk. I mean, 3 hours. You're not going to talk about the state of the Patriots and whether or not Bill. I mean, this is funny. Kirk, who would never go down this road about a major prominent college coach, and now he's going to be in the booth with Al talking about Bill Belichick. Whew. Tell you what, if he wants to make a name for himself doing NFL games, take a stand on Belichick's future. You'll make a name for yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if Herbie wants to do that.
I don't think so.
I don't think that's an avenue he wants to take, David. I really don't. I think that Al will press him and he'll just play both sides and never give a real strong opinion on that one.
I'm guessing Herbie will beg Al, please don't. You say whatever you want, okay? And let me talk about the screen pass. Please, I beg you.
Talk about the punts, Kirk. Talk about the punts, because there will be a lot of them in this game. 29.5 is your over-under for Steelers-Patriots.
Couldn't you see Al doing a college joke? Well, Kirk, this is like you doing an Iowa game, isn't it?
I've got to watch. I've got to watch. I can't help it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when What's on Tap. It's how we finish things on Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, this Taylor Swift thing is tough. She's gonna take some heat. I'm looking at this list from years past.
Oh,
it's
yeah?
just like, yeah.
Of the all-time person of the year.
Obama, Biden,
Oh yeah, it's
Putin, George Bush. Elon Musk. You remember when Bill Belichick was getting credit from, the talking heads and everything because he spent money in free agency a couple years ago, and those signings just haven't aged well at all.
What's that?
Do you remember when Belichick spent money in free agency a couple of years ago? And it was like Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, and they were getting all this attention and love for finally breaking the bank. And it's like those signings have aged horribly.
Mm-hmm.
Just to your point about Belichick being a GM. It's not just the draft,
Well, E.B. Hill, you could tell your sister that Goodell's not the one that moves games, believe it or not. The network says they want to move it, and it's all but rubber stamped. If the network has the ability to raise their hand and say, hey, we want that game. And the reason that ABC was able to get their hands on that game is that I believe the Philly at Seattle game was Fox's second game that week. Because I believe that's the week Dallas is at Miami. Could be wrong. But Fox has a monster game that week. Let me check. No. Let's see. It wasn't Dallas, Miami. Dallas at Buffalo is on Fox. And since Eagles Seahawks was also on Fox at the same time, but since it was Fox's second choice that week, it was available for ABC to switch to. So they just switched because it's a better game. I would think, E.B. Hill, to be honest with you, if you're a season ticket holder or even a fan, wouldn't you rather have it at 1 o'clock on Sunday? When your team is bad, do you really want them in prime time? If you're a fan, do you really want to go at night?
So, Paper City, your analogy is they won't come to free agents don't come there because it's Foxborough, not Boston, or because they don't want to play for Bill Belichick?
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for listening to Miller and Moulton. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy questions. Roy Cummings to talk about the Bucks and their first place showdown with the Atlanta Falcons. Huh? Let's start hyping it.
It's a really good NFL week, though.
Yes.
Every game has meaning in some way, shape, or form. I mean, even the game you get to do. The Packers and Giants.
The Packers are technically the 7 seed, aren't they? Don't we right now have 3 teams from the NFC North? That the Vikings are the 6 and the Packers are the 7? And the Rams and the Seahawks are 8 and 9 right now, also at 6 and 6. But then you got the whole, obviously, got the NFC South thing. Yeah. We got a lot of 7 and 5, 6 and 6 in this league. So it's, just about every game can have meaning. But anyway, just wanted to promote tomorrow's show. We're still worth listening to.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today in 1921, the Anglo-Irish Treaty is signed. Created Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
that worked out really well.
Went over really well. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Very popular.
Mm-hmm. 1923, the first radio broadcast from any U.S. president was given by Calvin Coolidge.
He was just witty, all right, had a way with words. I mean, how could you not remember old Cal?
President Truman dedicated the Everglades National Park today in 1947. 1961, Ernie Davis from Syracuse becomes the first African-American to win the Heisman Trophy Award. The Stones' album Beggar's Banquet is 55 years old today. The next year, the Stones would play their free concert at Altamont, where they hired the Hells Angels to be their security. 300,000 attended, 4 died.
Upon further review, that was a mistake.
Yeah, I would say. 1973, Gerald Ford is sworn in as the first unelected vice president. My guy got all the way to the top without being elected.
Totally.
Here's to President Ford.
Got the passenger seat and then the driver's seat.
Archie Griffin won the Heisman in 75 today. That one was his first, right? 75, 76?
I thought so.
I think so. Vinny Testaverde won his Heisman today in 1986. Jerry Rice catches his record 101st touchdown pass against the Dolphins today in 1992. That same day, Barry Bonds would sign his deal with the San Francisco Giants. And it was 5 years ago today that Derrick Henry ran for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns and a 30-9 win over Jacksonville. He had a 99-yard touchdown run that tied Dorsett for the longest run in NFL history.
So you said it was 75 that Archie? Yes. That was his second.
Oh, 74, 75, huh?
Yeah, he was 74, 75. I think upon further review, was Dorsett 76? I think Pitt, undefeated national champs that year. I think we went Archie, Tony, and then I think Earl Campbell.
That's a backfield.
Yeah. That's not bad. That'll play, as they say. That'll play.
Babyface Nelson and Otto Graham both born today. Larry Bow is 78. Comedian Stephen Wright is 68. Kevin Cash is 46. Giannis is 29. And David, I know he's your favorite. A Boogie with the Hoodie is 28 years old today.
Kevin Cash is still just 46. He's the longest tenured manager in baseball, certainly in the American League. And he's just 46. Man, they gave him that gig at a young age. Hey, you missed a couple of things.
All right.
Got to be, we ratified the 13th Amendment today in 1865. Okay. Did you have that and I missed it?
I did not.
Okay. Well, that ended slavery. That was kind of a biggie.
It's kind of a biggie.
But here's my favorite. Today in 1884, they completed the Washington Monument. Doesn't say. The better question is, when did they start it?
Ooh.
1884 is when it ended. They started it on July 4th, 1848.
Right, because they didn't finish it.
They didn't have the money, yet they started the project anyway. Then we had this Civil War thing really got in the way. Okay, president gets shot, the whole deal. So, by the way, we still don't have the money. All right. So eventually, $1 million, by the way. $1 million. Got to admit, you think about, architecturally, 175 years ago and what have you. I mean, I don't know. It seems kind of impressive to me. It's like when you go to Rushmore, if you've ever been, you realize that it cost us $1 million, I think, to do Rushmore. And you go, that's some of the best $1 million we've ever spent. Look at that. So 36 years, $1 million.
Talk about your construction delays.
Just there's like a famous line. I think Mark Twain, mid-construction, said it looks like a chimney. I think I got that right.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, 36 years.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Desiree Kraft is the luckiest person I've ever heard of. Back in 2006, she won $1 million lottery prize, but she kept playing the lottery. And then she won $25 million from a scratch-off.
Wow.
And like everybody would do with the scratch-off that she won $25 million with, she just stowed her ticket away in a safe place and took a vacation to Aruba and then came back and collected her winnings. And she couldn't get enough lottery because a week later she bought 2 more $50 tickets, one which won her a $500 prize. Begging the question, if you won $25 million from the lotto, why would you still play it?
I don't think I would have played it the second time after she won. Would she the first
$1 million.
prize? Yeah, I would have been done. I'd be like, well, wait, never going to win this again.
Right. Lucky to win $20 on a scratcher. I think 50 is the most I've ever won. 500, $1 million, and $25 million. For the bad, we go to Texas, where a woman came home from work to have a little surprise in her Christmas tree. She heard some noise and thought maybe it was one of her 3 dogs or her cat. When she got to investigate, she saw a long rat tail sticking out from her tree. So she did something that I wouldn't do, which is grab rubber gloves and attempt to pull the animal from out of the tree. It was a possum. She said the animal fled from furniture item to furniture item until she was able to tackle him like an NFL football player. Oh. Then she carried the possum outside. She said was not mean or aggressive during the counter, just skittish. And finally said, as an animal lover, I probably would have kept him if he didn't smell so horrid.
I can't do possum.
You mean she didn't get big and just stare the sucker down?
It wasn't a panther, David. It was a possum. Just the rubber gloves.
Gotcha.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Cape Coral, where Xavier Scott and Bailey Rogers are just wonderful teenagers. You see, Xavier had some tough times, and a friend of his mom helped him out, took him in. So much so that when they were out of town, they let Xavier house sit and take care of the dog. But he threw a rager at their house instead. When police were called to the home, the two weren't there because Xavier had taken the car out for a ride to go to McDonald's. So not only did he get busted for having a party at a house that wasn't his, he got arrested for auto theft as well.
I mean, they didn't have enough food at the party?
That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, December the 6th, 2023.
So, we got that hoops and that hockey thing going on right now. Miami's in action tonight, 7 o'clock. They host LIU. UCF is hosting Jacksonville. A couple of in-state games. There's streaming services if you're interested. But Texas Marquette, probably the college hoops game of the night, the Big East, Big 12 thing. A couple of top 15 teams in action there. 8 o'clock FS1, if college hoops is your thing. Probably the game of the night. The Heat and the Magic are in action, even though they're not in the in-season tournament. The season still continues. Magic in Cleveland, Heat at Toronto.
The aggregate scoring, there's so many things about this tournament that you should embrace, and you mock it every single day.
I do love the aggregate scoring idea. I do. I actually think we should do it in baseball. We should not have a best of 3. We should make it a best of 2. And I think if somebody doesn't go 2-0, we go 1-1 aggregate scoring. And if it's tied, we go to extra innings right then and there in game 2. If it's 1-1 and the runs are 6-6 total in the 2 games, great. Let's just go. Let's just keep playing. Sudden death. That's true, Mark. I should be, you know what? I will change my tune.
If there were a reward for the in-season tournament, like even if you don't make the playoffs, you're the 10 seed in the play-in. If there was something there, is there any way to juice this up for you?
Yeah, I mean, the NBA players getting more money. A weekend in Vegas? Wow, these guys have never in Vegas. I mean, just even during the season, they get a few days off. They go straight to Vegas. I mean, this really? Wow. The ESPN NBA doubleheader tonight, man, they really think people want to watch this Wemby guy. Of all the games they could have shown at 7:30, they're showing us Spurs and T-Wolves. Now, I know T-Wolves' best record in the West. They should have had a few of their other games nationally shown. But are we really into Wemby this much?
Yes!
Really?
Yes! They did the same thing with Zion. I don't care.
Okay. I'm just asking. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like, does that interest you? San Antonio, Minnesota, and they're televising it not because the T-Wolves are the best team in the West. They're televising it because of Wembayama.
Well, your alternatives are Nets, Hawks, Heat, Raptors, Sixers, Wizards. You might as well put the number 1 overall pick on there. The hype that he got, and I know you guys know this, but the hype that he was getting was unbelievable. And even though they're losing,
by the way, it was not more than Zion. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was not more than Zion, and that was just 3 years ago. So people were, this was not LeBron here. This wasn't. Okay, he's interesting, he's fascinating, but it wasn't even Zion hype. They've lost 13 in a row. Also. They're getting the game of the night at 7:30. Nuggets.
Well, at least we get popped between quarters, which is always riveting television.
That's true.
12.5 point spread too.
Nuggets, Clippers, 10 o'clock if you're interested. Remember, Orlando at Cleveland, Miami at Toronto. I got to be honest with you. I'd be more interested in Orlando at Cleveland, but I'm a goober. Lightning are home for the Penguins. Panthers are home for the Stars. So there. The Panther-Stars games on TNT at 7 and Carolina-Edmonton's at 9:30. Hey, at least they know who to. Connor McDavid. Wemby or Connor McDavid?
Well, Connor McDavid.
Most people listening are like, nah, it's hockey. I'll take Wemby.
Not around these parts.
That's true.
We're in hockey country, Southwest Florida, David.
Yeah, that's right. It's the final hour. So there you go. That's what's going on tonight. I'll change my tune on the in-season tournament. I'm sorry. The courts, I got to admit, the courts are fascinating to me. Okay? They're like the NFL. They're like the NFL crush jerseys. Some of them worked, and some of them were hideous.
Well, there was a couple that the ball blended in with the court, that it was literally tough to see the basketball.
Fascinating is a good way to put it, David.
But I appreciate
didn't play on the parquet floor. There's something about that that's just inherently wrong to me.
I agree with, no question. I do appreciate the effort, though. You know, Adam Silver saying we want to make it look different. Fine. How about this next year? Keep the courts the same. Go with the red, white, and blue ABA ball. What do you say? No?
I like it.
Miller and Moulton. Have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,